Okay, welcome back everyone. Salam and good afternoon. So we back to continue our next session, which is projection and sensitivity analysis. So without further ado, I will pass the session to Mr. Saiful. And thanks and happy learning. Over to you, Mr. Saiful.
All right, very good afternoon and Assalamualaikum. First of all, my apology because we have some technical issue just now to retrieve the slides. So all in, right? I've seen altogether around 16 participants because I'm using two devices. If minus out Aiman, only 16, only 15. Are you guys okay to proceed? Or you guys want to wait first for the rest to join in? Hello?
Anyone?
It's full.
Yeah.
Mungkin dia orang tak tahu training dah start kot.
Oh, tak tahu ke? Tadi kata 1:30 kan?
Tadi cakap 1:30. Actually masuk tadi 1:30. I was kept in the waiting room quite long lah. Jadi mungkin some of them already left. Most likely mungkin ada kemungkinan dia left the meeting lah. Sebab this morning I think the participant is about about 50 plus
About 30 ya. So okay, Aiman macam mana Aiman? How is it?
Kita nak hantar email to them too.
I think better if we wait. Right.
We wait ya.
Another 2 minutes.
Another 10 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, we wait for them for 2 minutes ya. Let's see. So while waiting, perhaps I need you guys, those in, this is the first question that I'm gonna ask you. So those who in the meeting now, perhaps can you answer some question here? First, this is icebreaker activity. The first one is I need to know why is cash flow projection important to you? And then of course in the chat room, can you say hi and introduce your name and where you are? Make it very simple. And then you share back your thought about why is cash flow projection important to you. And subsequently, maybe your classmate, they can always share as well as comment it to your response. To those who are in, you can start doing that while we waiting for the rest. Boleh kah? Is it okay, guys? Boleh? I tak dengar whether dia dengar I cakap tak?
Clear, saya dengar.
You dengar How about the rest? Others okay tak?
Okay, boss. Boleh, boss.
Okay, okay, can hear. Let me know because here I have a problem here, especially kat sini hujan. So I afraid that receptions, maybe the data line is not in order. So let me know if let's say my line putus-putus ke or anything that you think that I need to repeat, let me know. You can put it in chat and then Aiman can help me out if there is anything that require me to repeat Okay, I haven't seen any response from the meeting chat. Yes, Gan Shuyi, correct. Okay, hi Shuyi, how you want me to address your name? Miss Gan, okay, thank you very much. All right, what's your thing? What do you think about why is cash flow projection important to you? Any response so far? We have 70 people, yeah? Okay, Aman, should we start?
I think we can start because there is no pets at waiting list.
Okay, right, okay. All right, again, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Today's session basically is about cash flow projection and sensitivity analysis, yeah? So, my name is Syaiful Bahrain. I'm going to talk about cash flow projection, whereby inside this cash flow projection, basically what I'm going to share basically, about the session plan. So when we're talking about session plan, what we need to understand is how this program will be conducted. So inside the session plan, there will be introductions, icebreaker, basically. That this one I asked you just now, right? After that, I introduce myself again. And subsequently, I will also go through the learning objective. It take about 5 minutes. Subsequently, we're going to have to recap about a lending process flow, which earlier been talked about by Encik Zul and the previous tutor as well. And then subsequently, I will share to you about projections, and then what's projection about, how do you think about projection, and historical cash flow as well, yeah? Along the way, there will be some breaks be given to you, some breaks, about 5 minutes for you to digest some of important informations. I don't want to rush the session so fast. I want to make sure that you guys do understand what I'm talking about. And then subsequently, we continue with the other topics about how do we establish your assumptions, how to make sure that your projection is suitable, and then what are the challenges that you will be faced about the projection and cash flow projections. And then, of course, we have another break. And then I'm going to discuss about sensitivity analysis. What is sensitive analysis? And then finally, there will be 10 minutes be given to you for the question and answer, yeah, Q&A. And then I'm going to conclude that sessions. After we finish the sessions, we're going to have team activity about case study. Case study have been given to you earlier. And then subsequently, of course, I would say that I need some participation. How far do you understand about the case study, which is related to the today's topic, whereby today's topic is about the loan structuring and also cash flow projections. Is it okay with you guys? So far, so good? Any response? Let me see who will respond to me. All right, cool. Jiwin, okay. Let me run through. Among others about the response. Okay, let me this part. Okay, let me check the response. Okay, from Jean Wayne. Jovian, call you Jovian, PKP, Penang Kedah Police, am I right, Jovian? To you, it's very important
Cik Saiful tak dengar lah.
Hello, Cik Saiful.
Cik Saiful disconnected ya?
Wait, we try to reach Cik Saiful.
Hello, testing, testing. Can you hear?
Okay.
Sekarang okey, sekarang okey.
Okay, Cik
Okay, sorry about that. I think got technical problem here. Okay, should I repeat again? I repeat, yeah. The first one from Jovian, I very good response because he said that he wanna have so-called some overview about the cash flow, whereby now he's doing the bigger loan size. He was formerly from SME. And then Nishi from RCB Penang. RCB stand for what, yeah, Nishi? Is it retail consumer banking or region corporate banking? Or region commercial? Or regional corporate banking? Okay. Okay, Nishi, thanks a lot, yeah. Cash flow projection is crucial to ascertain, justify the financial requirement and repayment capability. You're right. I think more or less you are there. So basically, I'm really appreciate your response. How about the rest? We have another 15, another 14. What do you expect from this class, yeah? Any comment so far? No comment, yeah? Okay, I'm looking forward for your participation because this is very important because this is cash flow projections whereby this is among others is a blood. This is something that to do with the key concern in your proposal later on, especially how do you determine your cash flow. I hope you guys can go along with me, yeah? Okay, basically that's icebreaker. I hope there will be more people to give me comment. I'm continue to read your chat, yeah? I need to know your ultimate goal, why you join this cash flow projections class. Because earlier you did be introduced some other topics whereby pertaining to the cash flow statement, historical cash flow statement, financial analysis, business risk, industry risk, all those things. But for this case, for this class, I just need to know how far do you know about cash flow projection, why this cash flow projection is very important. All right. Okay, let me introduce myself, yeah. My name is Syaiful Barin bin Abdul Majid. I'm Head of Credit GCC Region Sabah for the past 3 years. I was also Senior Credit Manager Approving and also Senior Credit Evaluation Manager in GCC office. I'm so-called that evaluate the corporate paper. Previously, I was attached to Maybank Cambodia as a Regional Credit Officer. Or the other another words, we can say that head credit management. I was also CM in the GCC Penang Kedah Perlis as well. It's long time ago, I think about last 2004, yeah, until 2012. In total, accumulated about 27 works experience in retail, commercial, corporate credit, international trade finance, as well as international regional banking. That's basically about my experience, yeah. But I'm still considered young, about 27 years. Some people also, they have more 30 years and as well as up to 40 years. In terms of education level, as you can read, I have MBA from UUM and also DBA from Washington State U. I'm also certified professional banker. I have also credit skill accreditation as well as certified credit professional IBBM and also credit trainer, yeah. Okay. For today's session, this is expectation to you guys, especially those who attend this class, yeah. Among others, the learning objective, I think I can formulate about 5, so you can have more hopefully. The first one is able to select or identify economic, industry, business strategy, and also management factors. So by now, by having this class, basically I'm expecting you guys to know what is economic risk, what is industry risk, business strategy. I think this one you can gain it from the previous class. And then from whatever you understand from the economic, from the qualitative or quantitative factors, this one is qualitative factors, you'll be able to exercise your knowledge how to come up reasonable hypothesis about the future scenarios. Okay, that's the thing that you're going to develop from this class. Second part is how are you going to identify assumptions, plausible assumptions, yeah, and whereby it's not too aggressive, it's not too conservative. How you want to identify such assumptions. This is the learning skill. This is the technique that you're going to apply. And I hope you guys be able to understand better when we go through the class, when we go through the session, yeah. And then the fourth one, to be able to identify the critical financial drivers as well as non-financial drivers. The earlier days, I think you'll be introduced some of financial drivers. I'm not sure whether you're aware of it or not, but I believe if you're really stay put in the class and then pay a lot of the attention, I know that some of you will be able to grab a financial drivers very well. And then lastly, of course, I'm going to share the technique. How do you perform sensitivity analysis? All right. Are you excited to learn about this or not? Feel free to respond. Okay, this one from Aiman, yeah. So you guys, if you're excited, please give me so-called emoji, maybe thumbs up. If you're not excited, let me know why is it so, yeah. I'm looking forward before I start the session. Yes, Zul. Oh, definitely. Thank you, Zul. How about the rest? Are you excited? Come on, just respond. Thumbs up or whatsoever. Thank you, Jimen. You are excited. NDK. NDK, what's the full name? Sorry. I call you NDK, yeah. All right. I hope you guys prepare yourself, yeah, and be excited about it. Okay, before we proceed further, let me recap about lending process. The lending process, it covers understanding borrower needs, yeah. And then, of course, under understanding borrower needs, you'll be introduced about opportunity assessment, prelim assessment. By now, I believe that you guys know what does it mean by opportunity assessment, what does it mean by prelim assessment. But no worries, I'm going to recap about this. Opportunity assessment, basically, yeah, that you're gonna do for prospecting and identifying opportunity. That opportunity assessment under prospecting, basically, you does the prospect match the institution profile, and then you look through whether the prospect, I mean your prospective or prospect customer, basically, are they the one that we target? Are they the one? And then subsequently, when you know the customer, you're going to identify what kind of opportunity that you can have with them. Under prelim assessment, basically, you're going to conduct prelim assessment in relation to how are you going to identify their specific opportunity, what kind of opportunity that the bank can have it. This is prelim analysis that you have done, right? And then is there any risk that appear acceptable to the bank or not? And subsequently, under prelim assessment also, you are identifying borrowing costs. Why this customer come to the bank? What are their needs? That one is under the concept of understanding borrower needs. By now, I believe that you guys know what does it mean by understanding borrowing needs. The second part is about assessment risk. All right. Under assessment risk, yeah. Check, yeah. Under assessment risk, Assess risk, basically, you are looking at the angle of repayment source analysis, which cover qualitative and quantitative economic factors, industry risk, business management, financial as well, and then lastly, cash flow as well as cash flow projection. Under industry and business risk analysis, basically, you are looking at the angle about what trends and risks affect all companies, yeah? And then under financial statement analysis, you look through the financial statement trending and whether the trending is still acceptable or still the trending is within the risk appetite, the bank's risk appetite or not. And subsequently under cash flow projections, that's where you're going to identify their source of repayment as well as whether they will have the repayment capability moving forward. That assess risk, yeah. Second part is pertaining to second way out, collateral guarantees. I think this one has been introduced by Encik Zul just now, yeah. What does it mean by collateral? What does it mean by guarantees, covenants, condition? I think this one be touched a little bit by Encik Zul, as well as loan structuring. That's what you have learned today. And then subsequently, of course, under this collateral guarantee, all this is part and parcel. We put it under mitigation. The main thing is to how can we manage the risk? How can we reduce some of the risk that we be able to mitigate or we be able to address it? Yeah. Under price, you are under pricing. Under pricing, basically you price the loan based on, of course, I would say that based on interest rate given and also based on the level of borrower risk. This one we call it risk-based pricing. And then the final part come to the loan management. Particularly when you onboard the borrower, basically we need to manage, right? Who's going to manage? Who's responsible? Who's responsible actually for loan management? Can I get any answer? Any response on this? Who responsible? Who are responsible to manage the loan when you onboard? For example, you are BC, and then you flow to evaluations and get approving. After get approving, credit admin doing all those things. And finally, the loan has been disbursed. Who are responsible to manage this loan? Any takers? Anyone who want to try?
The loan originator.
Evelyn Chong, yes?
Yeah,
From who?
the loan originator, the account officer.
Account officer are responsible to manage the loan. Okay, some other people want to say? Want to share your view? Ada tak? Evelyn said loan originator. It means that if you're a loan originator, you are responsible to manage the loan. Okay, how about other view? Any other view? Tak ada. Come on, try. Don't worry. There is no wrong or right answer. We are learning. I'm also learn from you. No worry about that. What do you think? Try. I know that some of you maybe have an experience in terms of loan. Maybe some of you very new to the loan, but never mind, you can try. Okay, one more. I need one person to respond. Who are responsible for the loan management? Who are, not who is. Who are responsible? All means that many people, right? Who are the people? Ada ya? Okay, let me share first. Loan managing is everyone's responsibility. It means that irrespective you are originator, you are evaluator, you are approver, credit admin, or remedial team. It's everybody responsibility, yeah. Particularly because when we onboard, everybody has to play their role, including credit admin have to look into every single thing is in order. Of course, remedial, once the loan is turning back, they will come into the picture to support us how to sell off, how to recover the loan. Originator, we continuously monitor the borrower from the day they bring in until the loan has been settled. For evaluator, they continue to support you to review the loan from time to time, especially if under annual review, they will support you how to review this account as well. And if approving party, we keep continuing to look, is there any concern, is there any risk appear along the way during the subsistence of the loan. So it means that everybody responsibility, yeah. All of us are responsible. None of us need to pinpoint to other people. So far so good, guys. All right. So the next one, the next slide, yeah. What's the basic tenet of credit? When we're talking about credit, basically, we are looking at the past. Actually, when you do credit, you're looking at the past, whereby it will be only useful when the past can tell you something about the future. So how to say that? How to say that? Basically, we need to do projection. Am I right? But the question is, what does it mean by this statement? This statement says that, yeah, whatever information that you gather from the borrower, gather from the financial statement, for example, or gather from the market, for example, it will be very good. It will be meaningful to you if that particular information to be used by us, by the lender, how to project their future position. That's, we call it projections. If the information given to you only historical, nothing can be used, nothing can be done, it means that only obsolete information, it does not really help you. Basically, that information is useless. So for this basic tenet, basically that statement saying that we use the previous information, the previous historical information, basically is meant for us to project, is support us. That's why you are here. How are you going to use the previous information, the historical information especially, to help you out to project the future state of the borrower? Is it interesting, guys? Is it interesting? Let me know. If not interesting, I think I have to speed up. If let's say interesting, I'm going to deep dive more. All right, Jiwan, thank you very much. You are very interesting, yeah? Okay, thank you, Jiwan. Okay, let me go through the second slide. So this slide, yeah, what is projection about? Okay, when we talk about projection, yeah. Okay, let me check, yeah. Okay, a projection basically a forecast about the future performance based on assumptions, based on hypothesis. What is assumption? What is hypothesis by definition? If you look through, hypothesis means that assumption or any idea which is being put up, being proposed, yeah, for the sake of argument, whereby you need to test whatever assumption being given. This is to find out whether it can truly happen or not. And then another words we can say that about projection basically is like financial planning, which is essential for you to determine business survivability in near future. So we need to understand how the sales trending about, how the business survivability or sustainability, how healthy the cash flow is, how about the profitability trend, is it in order or not? And at the same time also, what are the biggest challenge faced by the borrower that may impact the borrower overall repayment capability? So basically, this projection is come from qualitative assessment as well as quantitative assessment. But here I would like to emphasize on qualitative assessment, which is in relation to economic and industry condition or events. This is qualitative. That's why we call it qualitative. It's something that's nothing to do with figure. It's coming from the outlook of economic outlook, industry outlook, for example. And then, of course, if you know in micro perspective, you have to know as well also in micro perspective, which is their business, relating to the business, their business strategies, how their business strategy to handle the loan, to handle the business. Subsequently, if you scale down, if you zoom in, we want to know also their management decision, how their management decision address some concern arising from business, arising from industry outlook. That is a qualitative assessment. Okay, Jiwan, so far you're very active. I would like to give you 2 stars, yeah. What's the name? Aiman, help me to put a Jiwan name having 2 stars because very active, yeah. I'm looking at, I'm expect the rest also do the same thing because it's a learning, yeah. So the more active you are, I think better stay. If you want to speak up, by all means, you just unmute. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to give you some stars on that. Okay, we move to the next slide pertaining to why is it important to the lenders. Okay, 3 things that we want to zoom in. The first one is we are going to putting together all the analysis which you have done earlier. I think you have learned earlier from the previous class about industry risks, about the business strategy. By now, I'm expect you guys to be able to differentiate between industry risk and also business risk. Yeah. Second part is you're going to have together or to have conclusive analysis about financial performance and historical cash flow. When relating to financial performance is relating to financial risk, right? So by now, I believe that you will be introduced to some of the ratios, some of the impact of the ratios, and also how are you going to compute those ratios. At the same time also, I believe that last session by Encik Faiz and also Encik, who else? The other one, Encik Hilmi, yeah, talking about historical cash flow. By now, I believe that if you really focus, you'll be able to understand what does it mean by historical cash flow. How do we differentiate between direct and indirect cash flow? I believe you are on that particular platform. Am I right? Let me know if, let's say, you don't really get, you don't really understand about historical cash flow. If you don't understand about financial, let me know now. Because along the way, I'm going to repeat, I'm going to re-emphasize again and again for you to understand. If, let's say, you do understand, I'm not going to repeat that. Let me know if you don't understand it, let me know now. So far, so good? Okay, the second one, a key to repayment analysis in ascertaining what must happen and not happen. What does it mean by that? Basically, what must happen or not happen in order for the borrower to be able to repay the loan, and the loan amount, and how they're going to repay. How sensitive the borrower repayment capacity to various changes that might occur. How best the borrower can cushion such issue in terms of addressing repayment concern. And then the last part is preparation. How are you going to prepare? How the best that you're going to prepare for loan structuring and also setting covenant? What it says that to provide you as a lender, me as a lender, how to structure the loan well, how to package the loan in proper way, especially can you identify between short-term and long-term financing, and then how are you going to have appropriate financing term and conditions. And towards the end, you're going to it's going to lead you to setting up proper or objective covenant and condition. Actually, the projection help you this, support you all these 3 at least. So far, so good, guys. So far, okay tak? Kalau tak okay, beritahu. Okay, good. Thank you very much, NDK. NDK, can I have your audio? NDK got 1 star, yeah, NDK. Oh, Dina. Okay, thank you, Dina. All right, Dina, thank you very much. Okay, we move to the next slide. Okay, Siti Amira, thank you very much. Siti, thank you. Okay, that slide is talking about how do you build, how do you think about projection of the borrower, yeah? Okay. The first step to focus on insights from industry risk and business risk analysis. What it says here, the insight is telling us what condition, event, strategies or reaction to include in the projection scenario in the future. It means you need to understand what kind of information, what kind of insight from industry that you're going to use. You're going to focus and you're going to use to support you to come up the projection scenario in future. That's the first step. Before that, you need to understand what does it mean by industry risk? What does it mean by business risk? So is there anybody would like to share? What do you understand by industry risk? What do you understand by business? Is it the same? Sama tak sama? Industry risk and business risk, is it the same? Sounds like sama, tapi tak sama kan? No, okay, not the same. Okay, any opinion, any views? What is industry risk? Okay, we go for industry risk first. We define it. What is industry risk? Yeah. Apa you faham tentang industry risk? Okay. Okay, I give you this, yeah. Industry risk is about macro, yeah. It's a macro. It's about it's outside from the business itself, outside from the company itself. It means that it cover it's a set of particular factors, yeah, whereby it happen to industry group, which can dragging down the industry performance. I give you example. Taxation is one of the example pertaining to industry risk. Market fluctuations, forex, natural disaster, as well as competitions. That kind of factors does impact industry risk. Okay, for the next one. No problem, Liana. It's okay. We just started, but about how many minutes? About 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, we will continue, Liana. If along the way, if you would like to ask a question, by all means, I'm okay with that. If you want to repeat the earlier set, let me know, yeah. Okay. How about business risk, guys? What do you understand business risk? Because just now I already mentioned about industry risk, but now my question is about business risk. What do you understand business risk? By having that kind of clear definitions, afterwards, you'll be able to understand, you'll be able to identify what are the scenarios, future scenario might happen. What kind of scenario that you want to incorporate it into your cash flow projections. So the question is, what is business risk? What is business risk? Tadi I sudah beritahu industry risk, factors yang incorporated that impact the industry, ya. Industry it means that outside from the business itself, the wider one, the macro, macam taxation. But now I'm asking you about internal. Is that what from Dina said internal customer basis. Okay, you almost there. Try again. You're almost there. Business risk. What does it mean? Good try. I'm okay with that. Don't worry. So Evelyn says that management experience, management risk. Yeah, it's part of it. You are right. Okay. In terms of definition, I want to give you the definitions. Yeah, business risk means anything that threatens company ability to achieve its financial goals. Their own financial goals. Yeah. In other words, there is a possibility of commercial business making inadequate profits. It's talking about business profitability, business financial goals. What's a business financial goals? They want to make profit. What are the factors that may impact that in terms of profitability? All right, that's a business risk. Yeah, I think you're right. Pulian just now, Jovan, right? Jovan. You're right, Jovan. Okay, 1 star for Jovan. I give it to Dina as well, Evelyn as well, and Amira. You know what? My strategy is for this class, who get the highest score, highest star, and then something that I want to share to you. So you try to accumulate as many star, because my friend Aiman, we continue to jot down who are the people got star, yeah. All right. Okay, we move to the next slide. Yeah, see what I'm trying to come about. Okay. The earlier days, I think last week you have been introduced about historical cash flow. Yeah. But this session that I'm going to introduce you forecasted cash flow. So before I proceed to today's session, today's topic, I need to understand how far do you understand about historical cash flow? Okay, I'm already layering out the cash flow analysis. Yeah, the first one, ex post cash flow. Can anyone share to me what do you understand by ex post cash flow? What type of cash flow that you are remember now? Historical cash flow. If you flashback last week, if I'm not mistaken, you learn about this. So try to recap what type of cash flow that you are aware of. Okay, I give you example. The first one, yeah, direct cash flow. Second,
Indirect cash flow.
indirect cash flow. Thank you. Pearl, I call you Pearl, right? Pearl? Pearl, yes. Okay, thank you, Pearl. You got 1 star, Pearl, and another star. Okay, direct cash flow, indirect cash flow, and then some others. Ada lagi tak? Check inside the chat. Indirect cash flow from Pearl. Okay, thank you, Pearl. Okay, kalau tak dapat, never mind. I share to you, yeah. Indirect cash flow, quick cash flow, and also bank spreadsheet. Have you seen the bank spreadsheet before? Ada pernah nampak tak bank spreadsheet? Have you seen it before? No. Okay, Pearl. You are from SME, isn't it? Pearl. So how many of you have seen the bank spreadsheet before? Okay, SME Miri. Okay, thank you, Pearl. How many of you have seen this bank spreadsheet? Bank cash flow. Pernah tengok tak? Kalau you buat EOS, we see that. If you haven't seen that, okay, I do understand. But after this class, please have time to go through the bank spreadsheet, to go through the bank cash flow. You will see that. All right. Okay, we move to the next one. My question, yeah. Actually, inside the cash flow statement, there are 3 key components inside the cash flow statement. So what are the key components? What are the key components of the cash flow statement? This one under historical cash flow, yeah. I'm talking about historical cash flow last week that you have learned. All right, Dina. Investing, operation, and financing, you're right. Okay, normally if you want to be in sequence, you start with operating activities and then followed by investing activities and financing activities. Okay, 1 star to Dina. Thank you, Dina. All right, so far so good. Exposed cash flow. Now we move to the second one. Quantitative changes. When we're talking about quantitative changes, it's in relation to source and use of cash flow. It means that source of use of cash in your asset or liabilities. By now, okay, I give you one example. If trade debtors, or I would say that debtors amount or trade receivable increase, is it source of cash or use of cash? Okay, the question, yeah, just now. Increase in trade receivable. Is it source of cash or use of cash? Use of cash. Okay, Per, you got another star. Thank you very much. Yes, it's use of cash. So what we're saying is whatever activities happen and there is no cash in, so we call it use of cash. Yeah. Okay, let's say another one. Yeah. I'll give you example. Buying asset. It means increase in term of asset position. Buying fixed asset. Yeah. Is it use of cash or use of cash or source of cash? Yeah. It's a use of cash. Okay, thank you, Jivan. You're right. Jovan, Jivan or Jovan? No. Jivan. Okay, thank you, Jivan. It's a use of cash. So it means we have to pay. Yeah. Okay, we move to the next one. Yeah, future. The other one is qualitative factors. When we're talking about qualitative factors, again, let me repeat, it's relating to economic and industry outlook, business strategy, and target action. That's qualitative. So now you have layered out cash flow analysis. You know what type of cash flow, and you know what this qualitative changes in relation to use and also source of cash. Yeah, and the other one is qualitative factors. How does this impact the cash flow, historical cash flow analysis? So every information are in your cash flow statement. You have seen that. So now with that, does it good? Does it good for you to have that information? Stop there? I don't think so, right? It's supposed to help you to have a meaningful, if that particular information, to give you some understanding, some clarity about how the cash flow in projection will be about. So basically, now you move to the next step, cash flow projection process, whereby you're gonna start with future industry trends. It means from the number three, future industry trend. You identify what are the quality factors. Now you are going to test it, whether that particular industry trend or industry outlook or economy will continue or not for this customer moving forward. That's future industry trend. And then how about the rest? How about the business? How about management change? How about management direction? All this, you're going to have some projection. You're going to assume whether this particular concern factors will happen again or not. That's your projection. Yeah, that's something that you want to test. Second part is quantitative hypothesis. So how this quantitative hypothesis will impact you, particularly in terms of change of working capital, for example. Change of working capital, or in relation to source of cash or use of, how does it, that particular industry trends can impact in terms of your quantitative analysis. So that's why you're going to come up with quantitative hypothesis moving forward. And then subsequently, after that, you have that kind of information, you're going to construct cash flow, which is three, you see, 1 to 3, cash flow analysis, division layering, 1 to 3. Now, you from the bottom, from cash flow analysis, layer, you go and become number 1. It means that 1 to 3. You can see it's a vice versa, right? So that's how you're going to construct it. That's how you're going to support you in terms of to come up the cash flow projections. Okay, so far so good, guys. So the main keywords here, if you based on cash flow analysis, if you start with indirect cash flow, you start with net income, you start with a profit, right? But the question is, the profit does not repay loan, right? Only cash repay loan. Now you're going to construct cash flow projection, how the best cash can support you in terms of repayment cash flow, repayment capability. So far so good. Do you get the concept here? So far so good? Thank you, Dina. All right. Okay, we move to the next slide. This slide is particularly to understand more about cash flow. First thing, this is among others that you have to bear in mind. You need to understand the position. The first thing is when you construct the cash flow projection is in a range. It's not a single set of financial statement. What it says the range, it means as I think I just want to recap what Mr. Encik Zul flashed out about the cash flows, about the example of cash flow oil palm, right? You can see the range or not? 2000, X1, X2, X3. You can see the range. That's what we call it a range. It means it cannot be very specific. It's not historical cash flow, whereby historical cash flow only show to you or demonstrate to you only one single year. But when you have a cash flow projection, will be many ranges depending on your needs. It can be up to 3 years, can be 5 years, can be 20 years, it can be 15 years, right? All right. Another things that you have to remember. It will be in terms of multiple future scenarios. It will be more than one reasonable hypothesis assumption. It will be many scenarios that come into the picture. For example, your scenario is about taxation, which is industry outlook, right? And then you also have another scenario in relation to raw material, increase in the raw material. And then you also have another scenario related to debt collections. So there are so many scenarios will impact your cash flow projections. So that's why from now on, you must have a set of mind saying that there will be range, there will be multiple future scenario. It cannot be one single scenario, it will be many. But afterwards, I just want to share to you how can you come up the best scenario, which is plausible scenarios. Okay, another one that you have to remember, the wider the range is, the more volatile your cash flow. It means that any point of time, it can happen anything. For example, who can predict for the next 2 years? Who can predict for the next 3 years? Who can predict for the next 5 years? Nobody can predict that. But based on the scenario that you have, basically, it can change. There will be more volatility. So what happened here? Every single years that you review the account, basically, you're going to revisit the cash flow again and again. You want to see whether the cash flow that you projected for the next 2 years, for example, now is year 2023. Let's say by year 2025, you're going to revisit again, or to 2024, you want to revisit whether the projection that you indicated earlier, whether it's really happened or not. If not happen, you find out why is it not happen. Is it because of the dynamic of the business, whereby the scenario is become robust, it's become more volatile, or a bit slow down, whereby due to some other factors which is does not really meet the position. But now you need to revise the cash flow projection again. That's what I'm trying to share to you about the wider range. Second part is when you have the cash flow projection, it's not like a historical cash flow whereby you have one single set of cash flow. But this one is you're going to have many sets of cash flow, at least 3. So the first one is develop best case. Base case, best case, and also worst case. What it says about best case, basically, is talking about optimistic. That's what the company wants. That's what the company targets. So they will tell you, I would say, very good position that we can achieve 10%. They can achieve profitability about 2 million or maybe 50%. That's what they want it, and that's what the thing that they share to you. But the thing is, second part is, you are as a prudent lender, basically you're looking at the best case. The most likely that particular cash flow can be substantiated, can be demonstrated. So that's the best case, most likely to happen. But in the same time also, as a prudent lender, you will look into the worst case scenario, whereby this is very bad thing to happen in the event of the industry outlook does not turn what they think of, does not really meet the target as a best case. This is the worst thing can happen. So that's why from the worst case scenario, basically, that's the things that you want to focus. Why? That's why you're going to set your covenants. You have to make sure that they won't breach any factors or any points, which is if he breach that one, or I would say that the cash flow will be getting worse, and then the borrower will face so much problem. All right, so far so good. So far so good, guys. I nak dengar suara lah. Okay, so far so good, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, I will need you to digest whatever I said just now. Yeah, I give you 5 minutes break. 5-minute break. So now what time? Yeah, 2:50, 2:55. We're coming back. Is it okay, guys? Try to digest what I'm trying to say just now. If you don't understand, by all means, you can ask me, but during these 5 minutes. If you after 5 minutes, we start a new session or new slides. $2.55, yeah, coming back. So you guys can have a coffee, whatever you want to have a stretch. Go ahead. All right, 5 minutes over, right? Are you guys coming back? Dah masuk ya? Your mind here or somewhere else? Can we start? Yeah. Boleh start tak?
Yeah.
Yes,
Respon kata
okay,
boleh.
okay. Alright, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, after we have a 5-minute break, I think you have your mind refreshed, and then it's time for you to move to the next slide, which is I'm going to share about how to anticipate scenarios, and also how are you going to establish hypothesis assumption. Basically, all this is more on understanding. At this juncture, it's not something that it's not the platform that you're going to construct the cash flow, but in first place, you need to understand how do you derive the figures. So now I'm going to share to you how are you going to come up your scenario first before you derive your figures. This scenario is very important because each time you put up the figures in your cash flow, but you don't really understand where the figures come about, I think it's all the time your cash flow will be not in order. And your cash flow basically is still be tested, is still be challenged by the evaluator especially, or by the approving party as well as auditor. So now I'm going to bring you some understanding about this figure have a meaning. How do you derive the figure? It's through this. These are the scenario that we have, possible scenario. That's why we be able to capture this figure, 10% increase or 5% increase. Okay, back to the slide. When you anticipate this scenario, basically there are few steps that you have to bear in mind. The first step is how can you anticipate possible scenarios? When we're talking about possible scenarios, actually we are looking at what are the logic behind, what are the reasonable assumptions that you have or hypothesis. In definitions, possible scenario means scenario and possibility that are likely to happen. It sounds logical, and also is considered maybe well true. I would say that. I give you example. When we talk about possible scenario, I give example. For example, retailer. When you're talking about retailer or retailing business, what are the possible scenario can happen? Among others is cost of goods sold concern. Cost of goods sold can increase, because in relation to your maybe raw materials concern. And then the other scenario may happen to the retailers is particularly about the sales. Sales can go up and down. That's among the possible scenario happen to retailers and so on, I give you another example pertaining to the developer. What are possible scenario can happen to the developer? Among others is in relation to raw material costs. Raw material costs can go up, can go down as well, but normally it's go up, right? The other one is there any possibility that developer delay in term of project? Yes, that one is logical. It really happened in the market. Why this thing can happen, why the delay in project can happen is because of in relation to other factors, other external factors, for example, weather factors, for example, and industry outlook, whereby property industry is slowed down. And then at the same time also, perhaps I would say that in relation to labor concern, which is maybe don't get a proper or sufficient labor to continue with the project. It does impact in terms of project progress. That one is an impact in terms of slow in completions. It can cause the delay in completions. That's the first step, anticipating the right or plausible scenarios. Second, when you have that, you're going to form logical assumptions, by looking at the past event as well, and also decision, which affect your asset or liability. And also you're going to evaluate the borrower management team ability to address the concern. So after you anticipate, there's something, your ideas, and then you're going to form it in terms of in writing in proper order, saying that this is going to happen in future based on the past event. It's really truly happened, and you're going to establish logical assumptions. And finally, the third step is you're going to focus. After the things happen, you're going to focus. How does possible scenario, after you form it, right, logical assumption as well, impact in terms of cash flow? What does it impact? Which part impact is financial driver concern or any variable concern, variable drivers concern. So you need to focus the many things. It's big meticulous. So from the first step is actually it's a very wide, it's very general. Second part is you're going to form in based on the business wise, based on logical, based on what's really happened the past event, and then does it happen again or not for the future event. Subsequently, you're going to focus. If this happen, which financial drivers will be impacted? So far, so good. I try to bring your mind, to bring your thinking. How can you establish your hypothesis or assumptions? So far, so good, guys. Boleh follow? Kalau boleh, thumbs up lah sikit. So I can know that. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, you can follow. Thank you very much for the response. For those who responds, who can give me a right answer, basically I'm going to give you stars. Subsequently, of course, I need your response before I move to the next slide. At least, if you cannot understand what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to share, let me know. I'm going to repeat it. I try to make it as best possible for you to understand. All right, now I give you a very complete set of understanding. Just now I put it in writing, but now I put it in diagram. The first part is talking about anticipating. Second step is form or establish. And then the final part is we focus which drivers. Okay, we take one example. If your industry or business insight tells you this, sales concentration to a few large customer. What trigger you? It means that business have this character, have this criteria. Their sales concentrated to a few large customer. What it trigger you? Second part is you find out arising from that, it incur you some hypothesis that what happened if they loss of larger customer. And the final part is we're going to focus. Okay, the first part that I'm going to emphasize you. What do you understand by this criteria? What kind of business? What kind of business character or the characteristic of the business that we face this kind of concern? Sales concentration to a few large customers. So what do you understand from that? Basically, it says that that particular industry is matured. They are facing probably new pressure on prices and also some of the competition from the global. That's why they cannot expand their sale. So their sales or their customer become smaller and smaller. That's some pressures, And then, of course, like I mentioned just now, when you're talking about loss of large customer to a new global competition, what I'm trying to say is, let's say I give you 4 customers. If these customers they're having 50%, 50%, 50% sales. So now if they lose, or maybe they don't get 2 or 3 customers, what really happened to their sales? Their sales will drop, right? Let's say 50% each, they have 4 customers. They lose to 2 customers. So 30%, 50-30, 30% out of from contact. So they will lose 30% of drop, or 30% drop in sales. So the impact is pretty huge because their sales concentrated to the few large customers, and then they lost 2 customers, and then there's impact in terms of their sales. So now your focus you're looking at financial drivers. So if let's say for this type of customer happen, so what are the financial drivers that we impact them? The financial driver that you can take into consideration basically cost of goods sold, whereby you can mention that the cost of goods sold as percentage of sale will rise. Why is it so? Because they have 2 other customers where they want to maintain their sales, so they need to provide better price to their customer. Perhaps to entice their back, they offer better discount. This one all we incurred, we cause their cost of goods sold increase. In terms of stock holding as well, now you focus into the financial drivers. Once this thing happen, you have to target first what type of financial driver we be impacted. So from this angle, we are looking at the angle from the cost of goods sold. We are looking at angle from the inventory. which is inventory also will rise because they need to hold so much inventory whereby they bought earlier. So why this in the inventory, this stock cannot be sold because they lose 2 customers already, right? So you can see that their inventory level basically increase. All right, another one is SG&A. It means selling, what do you call that? Selling, general and administrative, which is relating to non-production costs. For example, rental, salary, advertisement, marketing expenses. All this also will be rise, and will be increased because one thing is in terms of competition-wise, they have to back up in terms of their advertisement. In terms of salary-wise, also they have to incur more because more advertisement to be done and more works to be done, as well as perhaps their rental also increase. Basically, when you have all these type of steps, it support you to trigger which financial driver that you can focus. All right, from the general, you establish the so-called logical, and then subsequently you straight to the point, straight to the focus, which financial that will be hit. All right. Okay, so far so good. Okay, before I move to this, I would like to test you mature industries whereby they are having this kind of concern. This position is only to a few large customers, yeah, and then also they are show some other indicator. For example, they also having excess inventory because I mentioned just now about stock holding period also increase, right? Working capital also can be excesses. So what kind of industry that you think that fall under this category? Can you think of what kind of industry under this mature industry? You can take in terms of the bank, from the bank perspective, Semicon. Semicon, is it matured? My view is not, but if you think that it's matured, why is it so? Maybe you want to share? Maybe you have some different understanding? Nishi? Why do you say that Semicon is under mature industry? You are from PKP, right, Nishi?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, yeah, Nishi. Yeah, Semicon, why you say it's a mature industry?
Some of the big players in the semicon industry, such as AMD and Intel. I mean, the AMD and Intel has been quite one of the world's largest manufacturers for these graphic cards, all these computer chips and etc. So both of them is actually fighting for their market share actually.
Okay, but you think that it's mature industry by virtue of now they are so-called that they focus on a few large customers. Is that part of it that you think of this mature industry?
Correct me if I'm wrong, because global wise, both of these companies actually are one of the largest. So actually, you can say out of the semiconductors industry, I mean E&E, more or less also they have dealt with these 2 companies as well. So it's up to these 2 companies to negotiate for the price and all.
I see.
This is just my view.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Nishi. I give you 2 stars. You have tried. You are brave enough to speak up your views. To me, I believe that Intel or E&E is not mature industry. They are still, I would say that still volatile. They are still in progress. Mature industry is something that they are losing the market share as well to the rest of the respective. But they still can fight on the in terms of competition wise. Of course, the market share is there. More competitors, right? So basically, some part I can agree with, but the other part maybe I would say that I still don't get it under mature industry. Thank you very much, Nishi, for your view. I give you 2 stars. Definitely, if Aiman, please record Nishi got 2 stars, yeah. Okay. maybe I share to you some of other industry is pertaining to what industry you are in now is financial services in Malaysia. In Malaysia, yeah, I'm talking about Malaysia, they are considered mature industry. That's why you can see that in terms of shares, in terms of market shares, in terms of dividend yield, basically they are very high. Among others, the factors or indicators for you to track them or to keep track that this is under mature industry is dividend yield. And also you can see that in terms of number of players around. Another one is about ANG, airline also, mature industries, FMB as well, mining and natural resources from the bank perspective, from a bank perspective, these are the mature industries, yeah. Okay. How about automotive? Automotive, okay, automotive, if you can say a combustion engine, I would say that it's mature industries, yeah. But I'm talking about the types of cars, yeah. Because now EV is coming up, even hybrid also coming up. So if based on that perspective, I don't think so. But if you're talking about combustion engines, I would consider that mature. All right. Okay, Dina. Thank you, Dina. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. The more you ask, the better still. We can always share. We can always have some views. The rest, don't be shy. Continue to contribute to this class. At least we can learn from each other. As I mentioned, I would like to learn from you guys as well. This is two-way communication, yeah. All right, we move to the next slide. Why cash flow projection is very suitable? It's suitable. Why is it so? So the first one, volatile or inconsistent financial performance. Okay, I just want to test you guys. Can you give me example volatile industries, which is it shows that their financial performance is a bit inconsistent. So from your end, have you seen any poultry? Poultry volatile. Yeah, poultry is volatile. Yes, Nishi. One star for you again. Others? Dina, oil and gas. Oil and gas, yes, it's volatile as well. Yep. One star for you. Dina. Okay, some more. Cepat-cepat boleh collect your star kat sini. Palm oil is volatile. In terms of pricing, volatile. Okay, let me check with Zul. Zul, palm oil industry, is it volatile, inconsistent financial performance? So basically, just want to mention to you, he's a senior credit evaluation manager, which is in charge in terms of, he is an industry specialist, palm oil industry specialist. So coming back to Encik Zul, what do you think? Encik Zul, orang? Encik Zul ada tak? Tak ada, tak apa jawab.
Ada. Careful.
Ada. Okay, macam mana? Ada someone says that palm oil from Siti Amirah is volatile.
Yeah. In the sense of the cash flow projection, is it?
Yeah. So volatile industry lah, palm oil.
Volatile tu ada juga, tapi not so volatile lah, but ada juga volatility di situ lah.
Dia ada elemen volatile, but in term industry it's not considered volatile. It's more on pricing volatility, is it? Itu.
Yeah.
Okay, tak apa. Thank you, Amirah. So indirectly, palm oil is not considered volatile, yeah. Okay, textile. I think they're mature industry, yeah. For Malaysia case, for other industry, it's growing. Mining is more mature. It's not volatile anymore, mining. Technology, yes. Technology is volatile. Technology is volatile. Okay, Nishi, another one for you. Okay, start. Okay, we move to the next one. Sensitive to industry fluctuations. Is there any industry that you can think of fall under sensitive industry? Okay, I give you an example. Rapid change in oil price. Which industry be impacted? This is we're talking about industry fluctuations, yeah. Rapid change in oil prices. Which industry be impacted? F&B. F&B almost, I think tak masuk lah. Belum lagi. Yeah, ONG industries, yeah. Can you name it? ONG industries is pretty big. Give me example. Apa dia yang ni? Petrol station, not really. Yes, tapi dia petrol station tu dia ada macam control price. Dia punya price tu control kan? No petrol station. You kena expand a bit. Petrol station more on, I would say that is end result lah. It is a downstream. Let me see. Petrochemical industry. Yes. Petrochemical industry. You're right, Rishi. Okay, 1 star for you. Kamu kat sini lah. You nak score star ni. Okay. I stop that. Energy and also commodities lah. It is fall under rapid change in oil prices. Okay. How about financial losses? Financial concern, financial industry fluctuation in terms of financial losses. Which industry impacted much? What type of business? Glove. Financial losses. Glove, no part on the trading business, no. Financial ni, talking about financial concern ni, financial losses. Last time ada financial breakdown kan, ada financial issue kan. So mana industri yang kena? I think 2007, 2008 lah. Is that? Trading, no. Real estate, no, belum. Property belum. You ada dalam industri apa ni sekarang? Financial lah kan, bank kan. Anything to do with financial, bank yang kena dulu kan. Bank, insurance company, financial planner, brokerage, security, yang shares, trading, all those things. Yeah. Okay, one more the last one. Nak bagi how about customer discretionary? What kind of business that's fall under that kind of industry fluctuations? Customer discretionary. What type of business that be impacted? Okay, why I'm trying to get you in to this, because from that angle, basically you know that how important cash flow projection is. So when you know about this type of industry, require some assessment to be done, particularly there will be major change in the cash flow. Basically, that's where you have to think about the cash flow. Because still remember, the loan repayment will be only paid by cash, right? It's not profit. It's talking about cash. So now you want to test how best their cash, how healthy their cash flow is. So by knowing this, you know that this type of industry is very sensitive, that we need to come up or to project the cash flow. All right. If customer discretionary, I can say that, for example, customer service, F&B, hotel, restaurant, leisures, all those things, like luxury goods, for example, she say that. Okay, we move to seasonality. Okay, I nak dua saja. Siapa cepat dia dapat lah. Seasonality, which industry is that being impacted severely? Food. Okay, specify a bit of food. I think kurma. I think that is a product lah. They're selling, retailing kurma. I think be specific more on that. I think you see in terms of Malaysia context. I know that kurma is a season to the Ramadan. If the customer is focused on the kurma all the while, that's a seasonality lah. But we want to have a bigger picture in terms of industry-wise. Festive decoration, festival decoration. Yes, I can say yes, but I want something bigger. Okay lah. I give you, for example, those something to do with tourism. Tourism is seasonality, right? That's a bigger picture, sah. So what else? What else? Based on Malaysia context now. Apa business atau focus that the bank having now? Yeah, hotel. Yes, correct. Hotel. Okay. Saina. Okay, you got 1 star. Hotel. Hospitality. Yeah, that's the industry. We call it hospitality. Okay, another one. Recently, it's very hot in the market. Hot in the market. In terms of it's related to plantations. It's considered seasonality. Very hot now in the market. Boleh dapat tak? So basically, harum manis, I think not so wide. Okay, the answer is Durian King, Musang King. So you know that if you aware of recently, I think for the past few months, there are some proposal pertaining to Musang King happen in Raub, all those things, yeah. So the people getting loan, it's very huge loan. So that one is fall under seasonality. All right, we move to when you identify weaknesses in borrowing company. Any point of time when you see that there are some weaknesses particularly relating to their cash flow, you better revisit their cash flow. Go back to their cash flow. If there is no cash flow projection, I think better do it. And normally, those company that on board to us, basically we do have a cash flow. So you revisit back. And then if you find out that any other things whereby future condition or events that affect loan repayment, of course, no excuse, better revisit their cash flow, because towards the end you want to know whether the customer can pay or not. Yeah. All right. What are the pitfall of the projection? The pitfall is the challenge, projection. At best, basically, you only estimate of the future performance. That's the best. That's the challenge. That's the pitfall. And then the other one is only as good as assumption or hypothesis on which based on. Your projection only good based on assumption that you come up. So whatever you base on, that's the pitfall that you have to aware of. And then the third one, sometimes based on inadequate information assumption, whereby your assumptions coming back from the projection, or maybe some information which is incomplete informations. And then for the larger company, complexity. In terms of complexity, what I'm saying is, if you find out the projection for the complex or larger company is more difficult. For example, if a big scale company whereby the projection is a bit wider, and then you need to zoom in, which are the critical factors that you need to zoom in. So basically, when you face all these things, that's why sensitivity come into the picture. You're going to sensitize it. You do come out the cash flow projection, which is more optimistic, and at the same time also maybe you have base case as well. But now, by virtue of the challenge, by virtue of the concern in terms of projection, basically you will conduct your sensitivity. That's why the sensitivity comes into picture to show that it's very important to conduct sensitivity for that particular projection, because you want to see in terms of their cash flow, which part is the most or vulnerable factors that may impact the entirety of the cash flow. All right, so far so good, yeah? Okay, how do we get the cash flow? The first one is you get it from client itself, which is self-prepared by them. When you receive it from the client, basically, yes, it's very good that you have in hand whatever information, but at the same time also, you as a portfolio lender, basically you need to review, you need to check credibility, and you need to do sensitivity on that particular cash flow. You are lucky to get from there, right? So basically, you can't take that as per it is. You have to do some other works, which is some other homework. You have to check, you have to validate the figures. You have to check how credible is their figures, and also please conduct the sensitivity. Second part is basically you guys get projection. Basically, is in the form of when you conduct the meeting. And then having discussion with a relationship manager and also client, for example, between them. Basically, you're going to discuss some other areas. You are trying to identify what's the market outlook, what the industry outlook, what's the risk factor, and then you understand what are set expectation that you are discussing about. Subsequently, you start to come up your base case projection, what's the best, most likelihood that will happen. And then after that, when you receive that, basically, you're going to support the customer with your sensitivity. You're going to sensitize all the key variables. Basically, that's the best thing that you can do. Basically, is through the two-way communication. to getting the information from the borrower instead of just getting a piece of paper, cash flow paper from the borrower instead of without any further communication. So again, like I mentioned, for the second step, basically, it's very important for you to have a good relationship. That's why you as originator, we as a supporting team, basically, we have to have a better or good relationship with the borrower in order for us to get a better understanding about the borrower business. And also we need to have a real value added, whatever document, whatever projection that we have done. All right. Okay, any question for the earlier topics? For the earlier slides? Any question, guys? Okay, after you understand the projections, I'm going to introduce you to financial projections. Why I need to introduce this? First thing is I need to make sure that your thinking align with so-called that understanding the concept. When we're talking about financial projection, it covers all the financial documents, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow. That's what you can find out in the audited accounts. So when we do the financial projection, basically we don't call it income statement. Instead, we add in one word, pro forma income statement. What it says that pro forma in the other word is projections. Same goes to balance sheet, pro forma balance sheet. While the cash flow, we don't call it pro forma cash flow, we call it projected cash flow. So all of these are future information or future forecast. This is a forecast. In terms of forecasting, you have to bear in mind the rule of thumb, basically, the sales forecast is the key. The key factors, the financial driver that you really look into each type of document is in relation to sales forecast. Whether the sales increase or declining. So when we're talking about financial projection, it means that forecast of future revenue and expenses. Sales forecasting is the process of estimating future revenue by predicting the amount of product or services, a sale of units. So you're predicting the so-called your sales, All right. Under financial projection as well, under performer, I mentioned there are some methods that you can have. Don't worry about this. I'm not going to test about this. I just want to share this knowledge to you guys. Methods. Percent of sales. That's one method. And the other one fits environment. I'm going to show you some example to give you some understanding about pro forma income statement. Not to worry. Don't be so stressed about this. But instead, I just want to introduce you, let you guys understand when we're talking about financial projection, basically, we don't leave anything behind. But for the banker, for the lender, basically, the most important thing that you want to zoom in is about projected cash flow. While the rest, balance sheet or income statement, if you don't provide, is so fine, not much concern. But the most concern is about projected cash flow. That's the main focus that you want to learn more. All right. Again, I would like to emphasize one thing. When you do the projections, for example, cash flow projection, I'm emphasizing on cash flow projection. Don't ever leave out your assumptions. I can say that talking about the cash flow projection will be the dead body. It's a soul. I would say that it's a dead body without a soul. If you have assumption, indirectly, I would say that it's a body with a soul. So it means that a complete body, which is alive, lively. If let's say inside your cash flow, basically you don't provide any assumption, you just provide the so-called that you just provide the figures without any explanation how do you get the figures, basically that cash flow is meaningless, I would say that, because it does not bring any value. So that's why from the beginning, I always emphasize how can you come up the logical assumption, the logical hypothesis. That's one is to establish your assumption, because your assumption will support whatever figure that you demonstrate. Okay, we move to the sales forecasting methods example. This is something that I need to share to you guys. when you do the sales forecasting method, what are the items that bear in mind? At least this is more theory part, but the things that I would like to share, basically, there are some other methods that you can look into. Don't be surprised when you see that some people are using this method, but I'm not going to share about all this method. I just share to you what are the methods about lah. So the simple one until to the complex. The simple one is very straightforward. About talking trend, talking about the growth rate, which means that price times quantity. It means about sales figures. That's very simple one. And then the other one is to be supported also. If there are forecasting method that you use, is talking about sales receipt or order inquiries, whereby they do have so-called that purchase order, for example. They show that they're going to have a purchase order for this, how much the volume, how much the price. That one is part and parcel whereby you can incorporate it under your sales forecasting method. While the rest is come from marketing people, maybe there are some industry forecasts about the industry, time market share. I think that one is more complicated. You don't see so much here, but basically the very basic is we look at the trend and growth rate and sales receipt. That's if you want to construct so-called indirect cash flow or direct cash flow. While the rest, I think I'm not going to touch much. Yeah, I don't want to complicate the what do you call that, the class here with all so-called that the methods. Okay, these are example. When we're talking about the pro forma income statement, what you can see there, you can see that 20x1 to 20x2, whereby the sales grows from 100 to 120. It's about how many percent growth? About 20%, right? So it says that here, 20% growth in sales. What are other impact? Other also follow if, let's say, the thing is consistent, basically cost of goods. So if from the beginning 60%, you also just project that 60% out of 120. That's why you can see 72. Subsequently, the rest also follow the suit. Yeah. The one that mentioned about the changes is show that some in terms of figures, while the rest basically it follow the suit. So you can see at towards the end, the key things that I want to show to you when there is some movement in terms of sales, while the rest is consistently changed, basically no significant change. Basically, it shows that your net income will be increased to 11.2 million, for example. So basically, what I'm saying here is there is so-called that a move parallel. That's 20x2 is your pro forma income statement. Same goes to if you base on the income statement, based on the method fixed and variable. So you do tap in items, yeah. What are the variables that you may change? For example, here the variable is talking about the operating expenses, about 50%, as well as cost of goods sold in relation to raw mat and also labors, 40%. That's one variable. While the rest is more fixed, which is 2020. For example, my manufacturing overhead is 20 million. For example, same thing is a fixed. To show that some items are variable, some items are fixed, as well as go to your assumptions. Something that you want to show that these are variable items, whereby we are expecting when the sales grows, for example, by 20%, this one will be impacted. For example, they need to have more raw mat, for example, or maybe they have to employ more labor. So we're expecting assumption 40% based on the previous order, based on the industry, for example, or based on the historical. While manufacturing overhead, they operating at the same factory-wise, or the nothing much on changes. Say that we still continue with 20,000 or 20 million, for example. Similar goes. This one to show that just now you go straight saying that alignment, saying that based on sales, everything goes up accordingly. But this one you want to be more specific. Which part is fixed, which part is variable. All right. So that one is income statement. This is balance sheet. Similarly, you come up the so-called balance sheet. This is nothing much. This is for understanding. Yeah, you're not going to construct this. This is more on understanding pertaining to balance sheet. You show the some item, which part of the items are changes. There's some changes in terms of cash. Some changes in terms of fixed asset, all those things impacted. Yeah, you expect the balance sheet will improve. For example, when there is a percentage of sale increase by 120 million, for example, you expected the cash also increase. That's your projection. The 5%, 10%, basically you are referring to the previous historical, which is you can relate back to this. If this one you could expected the same thing to happen. If not to happen, basically you don't put that, you put as the same, for example, yeah. So this is some ideas to you to show the changes. Very simple, very straightforward, yeah. And then this is balance sheet based on judgmental, particularly, I would say that some item, again, I say based on historical, some item is very, not so too much sensitive. And then you based on judgmental, whereby you mentioned that if the sale increase, for example, we don't expect the cash to increase in BBU family because they need to so-called that to use more cash. Use of cash is higher. So they are reserved basically family to continue whatever it is, yeah. Account receivable expected to expand it to increase to lengthening about another 60 days, for example, because they have incurred more inventories, for example. This is something judgmental in relation to when you back to your historical, there are something that you would see, this is something that it can be yes or no, but it can be so-called that it can change as well. This is judgmental. So if there is judgmental to put in, basically your 20H2 will be impacted such a way that there's some changes in terms of some items, for example, account receivable, or maybe in terms of your inventory, for example. Yeah. All right. So you have seen income statement, you have seen the balance sheet. So under income statement, you're going to transfer it to balance sheet because towards the end, all the things of income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow will link together, right? So income statement, the net profit basically will transfer back to the balance sheet is under written in it. While for the cash flow projection, basically you do have the last cash, increase or decrease of cash, you're going to transfer to as minimum cash to be your balance sheet. That's why you can see that it does impact in terms of balance sheet, but if cash flow basically it does impact in terms of cash. So this part, yeah, balance sheet, you can see the cash item. The one is 6,000, for example, this one is 5,000. It means that at the end of this increase of cash, basically, let's say it's zero, it means that does not move anything much. Yeah? Maybe it's zero cash, or maybe it's 5 billion, for example, it moved there 5 million. For cash flow, it does impact in cash, but while income statement impact in terms of net profit. You can see two different things, how does impact in terms of when you combine it into the balance sheet. So this is balance sheet forecast I plug in. So just now, I just want to show to you when you have all this, yeah, all the one that judgmental as well as so-called self forecast. Basically, when you construct the entire balance sheet, it shows that the item under December 31st, 22X, yeah, to 22X, you can see that some item will change. And then the last part is you see the short-term bank loan, basically it will be in positive. Once you do the so-called plug-in, for example, you put in the figure according to the changes in the figures, basically there is something that missing, right? Your short-term balance sheet, which is zero. So when you make a balance sheet, total asset against the total liability EQ must be equivalent, right? You can find out there is different. So this one is more applied in to show that in relation how the three items, three financial come into the pictures. So this is nothing to test. This is something to share, okay? So do you have any questions so far before I move to the next one? So how many of you are having finance or accounting degree? Can I know? If you don't have, you just say no. No, yeah. Dina don't have, yeah. Okay, no problem, Dina. Can you understand? I give you very simple terms, simple example. Can you understand what I'm trying to share just now? Dina, okay, Dina, so far?
Slowly, but okay lah.
Okay.
Take a while.
Okay, wait. Make it very simple. That's why I don't really dive in. If I really dive in, I think the class is not meant for cash flow projection. But now you have to construct the cash flow with some other understanding in terms of financial. No worries. This class basically to give you overview. So by having this kind of basic knowledge, subsequently when you construct the cash flow, basically you have start in your mind. First thing is I need to know, understand the industry. I need to understand which sales forecast, which are the item that may be the factors which I need to zoom in, which financial driver that I want to change. Basically, I want to share on that angle. Okay, now I give you another 5 minutes to have a break. Please digest whatever I said just now. If you don't understand, please help yourself as well. Just type in whatever question that you want to ask. Okay, 5 minutes from now. Now what time, yeah? 3:40. So 3:45, yeah? We're coming back 3:45. Is it okay? All right. You can go and have a coffee first, stretch your body, and then coming back 3:45. Okay, 1 more minute to go, yeah. So far, any questions? All right, we continue. Yeah. Thank you, Siti. Okay. The next slide is now. This is time for you to move to another topics about sensitivity analysis. After you understand what the cash flow projection is about, how important the cash flow is, how to come up the cash flow hypothesis. So you haven't been introduced how to construct, yeah, because the construction of cash flow is another skill that need to acquire. But before that, let me straighten your understanding first, your fundamental. After you understand the cash flow projections, now you need to understand the importance of sensitivity analysis. What is sensitivity analysis? In other words, yeah, what if analysis is also as sensitivity analysis? It is a technique that is used to determine how projected performance is affected by changes of the assumptions and also projections that they are based upon. In other words, I would say that it is used to compare differences between scenarios and potential outcomes based on fluctuations or fluctuating conditions. So this is something that you want to compare between the actual, the previous scenario that you established, so cash flow projection, normal cash flow projection, against the potential outcome. What will happen if the thing is not as per or behave like as per it is? So the advantage that you're going to have through the sensitivity analysis, basically, yeah, you can have a better, make a better or informed decision on this. When you see the differences, you understand that this is optimistic, this is base case. What happens if not the base case, it becomes worst scenario? How are you going to make a decisions? Are you going to support? Are you going to have a more condition that you're going to impose, or are you going to have a proper condition which is in relation to manage the concerns? The other one is when it's really happened, when you review the accounts based on sensitivity, you find out that the concern raised, the changes is really happened, and then you can respond immediately, alternately based on a solution that you have think of. So you can make it very fast response, which is you have redeveloped during when you establish the cash flow. That's the benefit that you're going to have a cash flow sensitivity. Okay. Again, I just already laid down what are sensitivity analysis is allow for the what if this, what if that, everything, right? And then secondly is you can differentiate between pessimistic, or I would say the worst case scenario, best case scenario, and base case scenario. Best case is it means that optimistic. So it will show you the area that which part of cash flow that very sensitive, especially when there is a given variable, which part is more sensitive. That's something that you have to think of, the something that you need to focus. And then of course, you'll be able to identify which part is the highest risk. When you do so-called that a sensitivity, you find out, oh, come on, if there is a license concern, regulatory concern, this business cannot work, cannot operate. So this is very high risk position, high risk factors. So that's something that you have to take into considerations. Of course, when you see all this as a lender, when you already step into this kind of business, you need to do preemptive actions. You need to be prepared. What are the proactive? What are the things that you're going to do? So that's why coming back, when you understand all this, when you be able to differentiate between optimistic, best case, and worst case scenario, you'll be able to identify, oh, come on, if this is happen, I need to do this. I need to make sure that I need to make sure that the borrower does not really breach this. If they breach this, we know that the cash flow will be in deep shape, in deep trouble. All right. Okay, now we move to this. Just now, I've already introduced you to how to come up some steps to come up with the cash flow projections, right? And then I did come up in terms of financial driver. I did touch a little bit about financial drivers pertaining to cost of goods sold, pertaining to the inventory. Now I would like to share to you some of possible major variables that happen to sensitivity analysis. This is based on the studies given. Like I mentioned earlier, the first factors that always be impacted, definitely you can't really run away, is talking about sales. Sales projection, sales growth, basically, that's the main variable for you that you need to sensitize. For example, in that particular cash flow, it mentioned that customer give to you that sales growth is very, very good. They're expecting 20%, 30% next year onward, for example. So now you have to challenge, is the 10%, 20%, is it reasonable or logic? That's one part, yeah. Second part is gross margin. Even though the gross margin, sales was doing well, but the thing is, the concern is how about their gross margin? Are they operating profitability or are they profiting in loss? So if let's say they are in loss, basically, are you going to step in this kind of borrower? That's some question that you need to bear in mind. If this is customer that is very profitable, this is something that is look healthy, definitely that you want to step in again, then sensitivity will play a part. How far the gross margin can increase. Another part, another variables that you want to look into is basically operating expenses. Okay, again, let me re-emphasize to you about gross margin. Can the company pass the cost increase to the customer? That's the one thing that you need to ask. If they be able to pass down their cost to the customer, so it means they can sustain their gross margin. If they are unable to pass down their cost, it means something that you need to be aware of. So the question is, how does change or the impact of cash flow when there is a 1% change in the gross margin? How does this thing impact, That's a gross margin. Okay, coming back to operating expenses. The concern here is, of course, operating expenses we reduce their overall bottom line. Basically, the question is, can the company control the major expenses items or not? For example, what relate to operating expenses? Okay, before that, can you name it? Example, operating expenses. Can you name it? What are the operating expenses that you can think of? Apa the operating expenses that you can think of? Apa dia operating expenses? General and administrative expenses. Okay, correct. Yeah. Lagi? Thank you. 1 point to you. 1 star. Yeah, Aiman, Nishi got 1 star, yeah. Salaries, marketing expenses, yes. Goes to dinner, go to Nishi as well. Depreciation expenses, okay, that one not operating expenses, yeah. Depreciation expenses. Delivery charges, yes. Per also got 1 star. Okay, overhead, yes, correct. Okay, good. Okay, we move to interest expense. Pertaining interest expense also consider talking about the interest rate, whatever interest that they have to pay, yeah. And then, okay, collection receivable. Collection receivable is referring to, can the company control the receivable or not? How their collection like? How many debtors? 4 under 90 days, 4 under 150 days. Can they control that or not? And then, how much are they going to invest it? To invest? Sorry about that. Who say no? Anything about no? What do you mean by no? Sorry. Anything that you want to share, Per? You don't understand or you disagree? If you disagree, by all means, cannot control receivable. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Can the company control the receivable? That's one thing. If you say no, yeah, Per, for example, if you say no, what it means that they're having collection problem. Because as far as our concern, when talking about account receivable, they always have credit terms given to their customers. If you're lacking on that control, basically that's a concern that you have to bear in mind. This is very sensitive to them, that their cash flow will be impacted because They cannot control their receivable, whereby their receivable can be out of radar, can be beyond their credit terms. This is a concern. If yes, they are doing well in terms of credit terms, they'll be able to manage a very good trade debtors. That's a question that you always want to see. You always want to talk about. When you meet the customer, for example, you will go through their trade debtors agent list, for example. You will see that in terms of composition, how long the composition look like, for example, 150 days, for example, or maybe 90 days, or the most is maybe 90 days. So it means that they can get collection, their cash within 90 days. Comparatively to the other customer, whereby they are go beyond 150 days, it means that they are unable to control. If the composition is too high, that 150 days and above is a concern to you. That your cash flow, basically you have to sensitize. They said the collection has been lengthened. All right. Payment of income tax in relation to tax concern. So this is some example. Yeah, I give you some example whereby you can think of. Another example you can put into payment of suppliers, investment in fixed asset. For example, can the company get a fixed asset set up and productively when they need a budgeted cost? Can they do that or not? Other things that, as far as the concern that you may see here, if you really run through this, you can be, I think you will be able to identify which one is financial drivers, which one is other variables. So my question posed to you, can you, okay, I ask you first, can you name it? Which are the item here on the screen, yeah, are other variables? It's not financial drivers. And you have been introduced about financial drivers, right? So now I'm going to make it clear to you which one is financial drivers, which one is other variables or non-financial drivers, which is, I would say that we can split out. Okay. Payment of income tax and interest expense. Is it financial driver or is it other variables? Nishi. Other non-variables. Interest expense, other non-variables. Payment of income expense, payment of income tax is other variables. You're right. So, okay, 2 star for Nishi, yeah, Nishi. Yeah, you get it right. It's non-financial drivers. It says other variables. So now you can you can differentiate between financial drivers and non-financial drivers or other variables. Financial drivers relate to, for example, sales growth, gross margin. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Nishi. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, this part, yeah. Well, you've done the cash flow. Okay, this is a bit high level, but I would like to share that when you plot in your financial, basically you are looking at, in terms of cash flow, you are looking at either DSR concern or you're looking at gearing concern, or maybe some other factors that you want to check on EBITDA, for example, because inside your cash flow projection, basically there are some other items that you can see, but you can always plot in if you want to. If you want to plot in, basically you can read through the cash flow. For this case, I give example. The key parameters that you can take on is DSR, gearing, or EBITDA. For example, I'm giving this angle, particularly, let's say, your so-called your line, your graph basically is DSR. Sorry, DSR. So you have B is a base case, best case, yeah. ML is a base case, most likely to happen. D is downside or the downtrend. Or I would say that is a more worst case scenario. Yeah? So if DSR, you see this kind of graph that you plot in, you find out that the worst case is above lender comfort zone. Of course, the best case and base case are follow the suit. What do you think about this cash flow? Or what do you think about this borrower? Is it preferable? Is it good borrower? Or is it not? let me test you about the key parameters. Let's say your graph is under DSR, whereby DSR for worst case scenario above the bank's DSR comfort zone, whereby it's 1.5. Their worst case is 2.0. Their best case is 2.5. Their best case is 3.0. What do you think about this cash flow? Is it good? Is it bad? Do you think that you want to step in this customer or not? So any answer? I give you one parameter first, DSR. After you plot in all your cash flow, you've done your cash flow for the past 5 years or 20 years or 15 years, you find out that that's how the graph behave. Yeah. So the graph behave. So best case continue uptrend. Best case also uptrend, while the worst case scenario is downtrending. But the red line shows that the level, lender's comfort level only DSR required is 1.5. But the nearest one for worst case is 1.75. So my question is this customer good or not? So anyone to try? Per se, no. They said that DSR, worst case scenario 1.75, above the bank comfort zone, comfort level is 1.5. She said no. Per se, no. So any other thing, any other view? Tak ada. The answer is yes, because we're comparing the DSR, debt service ratio, whereby the bank comfort level is the benchmark is 1.5, but the worst case scenario is 1.75, which is above the bank acceptable level. So which means that the customer basically having very strong DSR. Now I test you on the gearing. What happened if the gearing comfort zone basically is only 1.5 times? Okay, let's say like 2 times. While the worst case scenario to show that their gearing is hello, testing. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Sorry, what? I think the lines cut off just now. Okay. My question, yeah. From this particular graph, I would say that let's say if your comfort level, lender comfort level, which is a red line, it shows that benchmark around 2.0 gearing level, 2.0 times, while your worst case scenario basically is 2.3, while your best case is 4.0 times, while your punya best case or most likely to happen is only 3 times gearing level. What do you think about this borrower? Is it a good borrower to go in or is it not? Just now I test you DSR, right? Now I test you on gearing position. What's the answer? And you want to try? Or can you understand what I'm trying to ask you? So far, no answer. Can you repeat the question? Okay, I repeat. Yeah, the question. Yeah, just now I test you about DSR. So the second question is I'm testing you about gearing position. What is gearing, right? You know, understand gearing. Gearing is particularly about the debt level, yeah, leverage ratio. Your gearing position, the bank benchmark basically is 2.0 times, yeah. But when you so-called that you do the cash flow, basically you find out that their gearing position, basically for worst case scenario, customer is experiencing 2.3 times, while their best case 4.0 times, their base case is 3.0 times, which is the gearing position higher than benchmark. So what do you think about this borrower? To you, let's say that based on the graph itself, it can bring different meaning. So it can be based on your key parameters whereby you come up from your cash flow. If your graph based on DSR, when it shows this, it can be favorable. But if you based on the gearing, this graph show that the borrower having the high gearing position, similar to Go EBITDA, yeah? All right. So now I test you about this graph, whereby the comfort zone is a red line. I mentioned about red line. Because if you read through this, it's something that is straightforward. Now I would like to test you based on the parameters. Let's say your comfort level is a red color, which is in relation to DSR. DSR on the red position is 1.5 times. As you can see, based on the graph, based on the plot, yeah, you find out that worst case scenario is only 0.3 times. Performance is only 0.9. I'm sorry, the best case or most likely to happen is 0.9 times, while the best case is 1.5. When you come up this kind of worst case scenario, best case scenario, you find out these are the features or the character of the borrower in terms of their cash flow position, in terms of their cash flow position or cash flow indicator. So what do you think about this borrower? Is this borrower low risk borrower or high risk borrower? I test you about the SR dulu, ya. So I repeat the question, or you guys can answer based on, or you need some times to think about it. Confusing. Sorry. Okay, let me check. Okay, your parameters now is DSR. I means that your key parameters is DSR, debt service ratio. I repeat, yeah. Your red line is actually bank acceptable level, which is for DSR is 1.5 times, right? When you come up with your cash flow, which is under DSR part, when you plot in 2008-1, 2008-2, 3, 4, 5 until the end of 10 years, for example, you find out the graph behave this way. You find out that your worst case scenario, which is a D, downside scenario, which is the figure, the last ratio or the last point gives to you only 0.3 times. While your best case, your base case only 0.9 times. While your best case shows that 1.5 times. 1.75, I would say that. For this case of borrower, what do you think about this one? Is this borrower that something that you are eager to go in, or something that you need to really step back? Or maybe you don't want to consider that to proceed? Well, so which is which? Okay, my apology. I think got some issue about the other laptops, yeah. So because I connect two laptops here, one is working well, the other one is got some problem interconnections. Okay, I repeat, yeah. I think I agree with you. This is high risk borrower. When you want to communicate or when you want to justify why you say this is high risk, which is the bank should not step in, particularly because you can mention that based on the three scenarios, optimistic, which is best case, based on most likely to happen, the best case, based on the worst case scenario, which is pessimistic, you find out that those pessimistic and those base case are below the bank comfort level. Well, it says that this is a high risk borrower, whereby if anything goes wrong about this borrower, which is we expect that it can go to that extent, this borrower basically below repayment capability. So basically this, hello, can hear or not? Oh, okay, sorry about that. So now I don't know which part I missed. So what I'm trying to say is this is high risk borrower. When you evaluate, you find out that the three scenarios happen: best case, base case, and also worst case scenario. You find out that there are different scenarios happen. There are different things happen. For the downside risk or pessimistic scenario or worst case scenario, and also best case scenario, they are below the benchmark, which is very high risk to the bank. So basically, we don't want to step in this because the borrower basically cannot survive when the things happen. Even most likely to happen, also they cannot survive. They cannot pay the loan. While they only can support the loan or pay the loan when only optimistic to happen. But along the way, you can see that based on the timeline, first year, second year, third year onwards, and then towards the end, you see the first year, second year, third years onward, basically, they also below the par. Even optimistic, they cannot survive, they cannot pay as well. So basically, this is high risk borrower. So that's why when you want to do this kind of expected range of performance, basically you have to look into what kind of parameter you are in. If you're based on, you gauge based on DSR, it gives you different meaning. If you base on the gearing position, it gives you the different part of position. While similarly, if it goes to EBITDA. So that's the explanation that most likely all right, sorry about that. A few interruptions. I think it's very bad. So, okay, I think I almost towards the end. So I give you give you chance to ask me any question that you would like to raise or would like to share to the rest. So any question, guys? No question? No question. Per, so far so good, Per. If you're good, give me thumbs up. If you're not good, you mention just also. Okay, thank you, Per. I hope you learn a lot. Okay, you learn something, right? How about the rest? Arman, sorry, Arman, can you help me to share the question, the poll?
The poll. All right,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Okay, and then can you keep track who answer all right? Give me the name.
I try my best.
Okay. There are 5 questions altogether. Who can get it right? I think the first 3, the first 2 lah. I would say the first 2, and then we give them 3 stars. So you can take about 10 minutes, yeah. It's not break. You answer the poll.
Everyone can see the pool, right? Alright, alright.
That after you finish that, screen, yeah.
Okay. For a minute.
Okay, sure.
Do you see my slide?
I haven't seen your slide. I just see M25 plus. Yeah,
Oh, no,
desktop.
yeah.
Oh, boleh gabung ni? Boleh gabung? Ha? Oh, okey. Dah. Settle ya? Okey, baik, Abi. M25. Lepas tu tak ada kat sikit ah. Dua orang je, yang dua orang memang stay sini. Yang kat sini kita
Really not stable lah. City raining ah. I'm dialing up from Sabah actually. Sorry about that, guys. So can you see my screen now? Conclusions. Can you guys see it?
Yes, can see.
Yes, boss.
Boleh.
Okay, boleh ah. Okay, good. Okay, hello.
Hello.
Okay. So in conclusion, just now I mentioned that Liana got it right, all 5 questions, so she got 3 stars. Basically, I think more or less you guys know what I'm telling you, what I'm sharing you. So in conclusion for this session, why are projection sensitivity very important? The first thing is now you'll be able to provide indications or signal on what would happen or not to happen. It's basically telling you that kind of signals. Second part is you'll be able to indicate or be able to identify how sensitive repayment capacity is. And then of course, subsequently, you can mention that when you see the problem, when you see that some other issues in relation to your cash flow, it gives you a basis for you to monitor the performance moving forward. If let's say the whatever performance that you project for the next 2 years or 3 years subsequently is not achievable, so you need to revisit the cash flow. And then of course, when you do the sensitivity, basically it tells you that how much cushion or how much that buffer that you need to have for this borrower to make sure that the borrowers can stay afloat. Okay, so that's the conclusion about this topic. So subsequently, After this, we have another about 1 hour. We're gonna have a team activities. Particularly, we want to have some understanding application wise in terms of loan structuring as well as cash flow in terms of coming up with the so-called probability or reasonables of assumptions. So I think the earlier days, the academy did share to you about these customers or case studies. Yeah, they did share about background, financial, industry overview, credit info, and projections. Okay, I know how many of you have read through the case study. Can I know that? How many of you? Hello, can you see my slides?
Boleh tengok yang depan tu, team activity.
Boleh nampak slide tak?
Boleh.
Boleh ya? Okay, so now I think the other part is my my laptop cannot work because I think something not right here. I think some issue about the connections. It left again, yeah. I can see from my so because I want to share you a video pertaining to the cash flow. Okay. It means that the video cannot be played here unless the connection back to normal. So let me check whether I can share you the video or not. Yeah. Okay, let me check. Yeah. These are the videos that I am going to share to you. Can you see the videos or not in first place?
Saya nampak the link tu, nampak. Video tak nampak.
Video tak nampak ya? Video tak nampak ya. Okay. Video tak nampak.
The clearest real-world example of sensitivity analysis that I have ever seen is one by oil and gas company Shell about the impact of changes in the oil price. The price sensitivity at Shell group level is $6 billion of cash flow from operations per annum per $10 per barrel Brent oil price movement. If the oil price goes up by $10 per barrel, they expect $6 billion of incremental cash flow from operations. If the oil price goes down by $10 per barrel, they expect a decrease of $6 billion of cash flow from operations. This sensitivity statement comes with a disclaimer. This price sensitivity is appropriate for smaller price changes and is best used for full year numbers. The format of this sensitivity analysis is: what is the effect of a change in absolute terms of an input variable, oil price, on the absolute amount of a target variable, cash flow from operations? Commodity trading and mining company Glencore provides a sensitivity analysis in the part of the annual report that discusses the review of assets for impairment. For each cash-generating unit with limited headroom relative to their estimated recoverable value, a sensitivity impact of potential 10% movements in the most sensitive assumptions is provided. For coal South Africa, a 10% fall in coal price assumptions would lead to a possible impairment of $703 million. For Mopani, a fall of 10% in the copper price assumption would lead to a possible impairment of $181 million, while a 10% reduction in the estimated annual production over the life of the mine could result in an impairment of $116 million. Similar sensitivity analyses are done for cash-generating units involved in the extraction and production of nickel, oil, and zinc. The format of this sensitivity analysis is: what is the effect of a change in percentage terms of an input variable, 10%, on the absolute amount of a target variable, millions of dollars of impairment charges? These examples lead us to a definition of sensitivity analysis: the process of estimating how target variables change in relation to changes in input variables. What is the effect of a change in input variable X on target variable Fx? What is the effect of a change in the oil price on cash flow from operations? What is the effect of a change in revenue on profitability? What is the effect of a change in estimated project benefits on net present value? The key to sensitivity analysis is to identify the most significant assumptions that affect an output. Which input variables have the strongest impact on the target variables? Prior to starting a sensitivity analysis, you first need to decide what the key performance indicators, target variables, are. Here's an example of sensitivity analysis. Let's start off with the base case on the left. The projected income statement of a company has $1 million of revenue, minus $600,000 of variable costs, which leads to $400,000 of contribution margin. After deducting fixed cost of $200,000, operating margin is $200,000. What is the effect of a change in revenue, more specifically a drop of 10%, on operating margin? Wrong question. Not every type of change in revenue has the same effect on operating margin. Currently, the company expects to sell 100,000 units of one single type of product at $10 each. If we want to analyze the impact of a change in revenue, input variable, on operating margin, target variable, then we should either take a 10% decrease in volume or a 10% decrease in price. Or even better, analyze the effect of each of these versus the base case side by side. A 10% decrease in volume leads to revenue of $900,000. 90,000 units sold at $10 each. A 10% decrease in price also leads to revenue of $900,000, but with a different composition. 100,000 units sold at $9 each. So far, so good, so what? That question is answered in the next line of the projected income statement. Variable costs in the case of a 10% drop in volume are $540,000. 90,000 units that cost $6 per unit to make. In other words, 90,000 units in revenue and 90,000 units in variable costs. If there is a drop in volume, then both revenue and variable costs drop by 10%. Variable costs in the case of a 10% drop in price stay at $600,000. 100,000 units at the cost of $6 per unit to make. Revenue drops, but variable costs stay the same. As a result, the contribution margin in the volume drop scenario is $360,000, 90,000 units times $4 per unit, while in the price drop scenario, it is only $300,000, 100,000 units times $3 per unit. Deduct the fixed costs, which stay at $200,000, the same as in the base case scenario. Then look at operating margin. $160,000 in the 10% volume drop scenario, but only $100,000 in the 10% price drop scenario. From this, we learned that we can expect a 10% drop in volume to lead to a 20% drop in operating margin, while a 10% drop in price would lead to a 50% drop in operating margin. Be much more afraid of a drop in price than of a drop in volume. What we have done so far is called a one assumption at a time scenario analysis, analyzing the effect of varying one model input factor at a time while keeping all other fixed. In real life, many assumptions may be linked and move at the same time, in the same direction or in opposite directions. What if both volume and price drop by 10% at the same time? Our new revenue would be $810,000. 90,000 units at $9 per unit. Variable costs, $540,000. 90,000 units at $6 per unit. Contribution margin, $270,000. 90,000 units at $3 per unit. Fixed costs, $200,000. Operating margin, $70,000. What we learn from this is that a 10% drop in volume and a 10% drop in price at the same time lead to an expected 65% drop in operating margin versus the base case. In a lot of situations, people performing a sensitivity analysis mistakenly assume that input variables and output variables are linked in a linear way. A 20% change in the inputs is expected to have double the effect on the outputs versus a 10% change in the inputs. A positive linear scenario on the left, a negative linear scenario on the right. The impacts of input variables on target variables could, however, be exponential, not linear. In the case of a positive scenario, this would be called convexity, exponential growth in the target variable. This is something you try to look for and benefit from. In the case of a negative scenario, this would be called concavity, exponential decline in the target variable. This is something you try to avoid, build defenses against, in order not to get hurt or blow up. When doing a sensitivity analysis, try to detect the sensitivity of an outcome to different sized shocks. What does sensitivity analysis give us? In the words of Nassim Taleb, performing sensitivity analysis on assumptions does not eliminate the risk, but identifies which assumptions are key to conclusions and thus merit close scrutiny.
So now I need to share back. I need to stop that one. If that the case, okay lah, we go straight to the case study. So let me resolve the issue. Okay. So the case study, can you see this? Chemcare products?
Boleh.
Boleh Okay, from the case study itself, there are a few questions we asked Okay, the first question, list the key strengths and concerns pertaining to Chemcare. The second question, list possible key industry risks. Okay, key strength and concern basically is to identify your ability to size up in terms of, based on your understanding, what are the good things or the best thing about this borrower, and that's then the concern which you want to develop to have a proper thinking about how to size up the assumptions later on. And the second part is list of possible key industry risk, characteristic, economic event, all those things that been shared to you earlier. And the third part basically is about the management projection, which is you need to identify now. You're going to use whatever basic that you learned from the topic just now, how to identify the most plausible management assumptions. Why you say so? And then the fourth one is basically based on management projections. So you need to list out assumptions that do not seem plausible. It means that this does not logic. Okay, so one is plausible, the other one is not plausible. And then subsequently, you go for loan structuring. How are you going to recommend the facilities? This one only help you out if you are really read through the case study. If you don't read through the case study, you have to let me know. I have to explain it. But if you read through the case study, I'm looking forward for your input. So similarly, it goes to item 6, repayment term, which you require, for example. And then item 7, 8, and 9 basically is more 8 and 9, which is related to the loan structuring, loan covenants. What are the things that you are going to input? Okay, can I got the response from you? How many of you read through the case study? Okay, if those read case study, basically you can give it thumbs up. If you don't respond, it means that you don't really read the case study. I have to bear with you, saying that I have to run through the case study directly with the answers. So which is, I believe, I will explain, but you need to understand what I'm trying to say, because if you don't read the case study, basically, I hope you can catch what are the key points that I'm going to share to you. So how many of you read the case study? Just give me thumbs up.
So tak ada yang case study ke? Tak ada. Okay, shall I proceed to go through this case study? Is it okay? Is it okay with you guys? Okay, okay, thank you, Okay, based on the case studies, if you really read through, the ChemCare product basically is talking about this business, which is this business is among the largest private-owned US manufacturer of consumer home. Why we choose this kind of case study, which is a US-based, basically, inside this case study, basically it come up the entire write-up. It does share about what are the objective of this case study, the background, the financial, and even they give a financial projection as well as some assumption be given as well in the case study. And at the same time also, what are the limits required, what are the financing that they are required, all inside that case study if you really read through. At the same time also, they also they also talk about their type of products that this company involved, what really happened in this company. So in snapshot, I would say that this case study basically, if you based on nature of business, basically they are involved in manufacturing consumer home or garden pesticides. At the same time also, they diversify into paint product and also kitty litter. There is some question that maybe strike into your mind, why this customer diversify in their business from customer pesticide and consumer pesticides to paint product and also kitty litter. That's a big question. If you read through the case study, you find out that it's very interesting. Okay, this company basically has been incorporated since 1980s, it's pretty long, and that the key person basically is the brother, the original key sponsor, who was Jack Kinney. Yeah, actually is the founder, together with other business partner named James Kerr and also Bruce Wilson. Unfortunately, Jack Kinney basically suffered cancer, and then he passed away. And then Michael Kinney came over to the company to over. Very unfortunate, Michael Kinney didn't have any experience in this business. But bear in mind, after he took over, he be able to turn around this company pretty well. This is something good, something interesting about this case study. How he managed to turn around this company with from 32 million and then it can shoot up to 40 million. You can see their income from 58,000, it goes up to 1.4 million. Without any proper experience, he be able to turn around this company pretty well. That is something that interesting about this company. Yeah, and then of course, I mentioned to you in terms of competitors, the main competitors, there are three main competitors. They are American Cyanamid company, Dow AgroScience, and also Monsanto, which are this company also involved in manufacturing consumer and garden pesticides. So that are their main competitors. So coming back to the company itself, the company basically, McKinney basically is a business acumen. I would say that he has experience in terms of timber company. He's doing well in timber company, whereby he be able to make sure to ensure that timber company doing well. His strategy is very aggressive in terms of marketing. He know how to focus the business, even though he did not have any experience in terms of consumer or pesticides, but he know what to focus, especially in terms of marketing, in terms of coming up focus for the products. And then in terms of their business strategy, that's the key strength about Michael Kinney. So luckily this company able to employ him or get him as a partner, as a director as well, have some shareholding as well to the business. All right, you can see in terms of financial performance, they are doing well. So that's why, based on the case study, you are as an originator or you are the banker, you are approaching this customer that you want to promote them to come over to the bank, it means that to take over from the existing facility from other bank. The only thing is how do you want to compete with the other banks? So basically, if you read through, that's something that you will trigger out. This is something with good case study actually. All right, so far so good. So far so good, guys. This one explanation, do you understand? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, now we move to answer the questions. Yeah. These are the key strengths or concerns. Okay, the key strength of CamCare, I mentioned to you, if you read through the case study, basically, in terms of ability of coming to manage profitably and operating cycles, which is, as you can see, from the sorry, let me check. From the case study, basically, they show that some company capability in term of to so-called that sorry, give me a time. If you want to give some inputs here, proper inputs. Okay, in terms of profitability, if you run through their financial, basically, they managed to register good profitability and also manage in terms of operating cycle, which is you can show, it shows that it has been steadily improved. That's the key strength about this company. And then second part that you have to understand about strategy to diversify. Okay, I mentioned to you about the pesticides, whereby they also diversify. It's very unique, whereby this company diversify into paint and also kitty litter. You know why? Because Michael Kinney found out that this company is highly fluctuated in terms of seasonality. If you run through their financial, they did mention about month-to-month financial pertaining to their sales income. You find out that their income or their liabilities or their trade debtors, it shoot up in the month of December until May. It shows that during that period, the demand for the pesticide is very, very high. So that's why you can see that it says that they need continuity in terms of another month. That's why Michael Kinney decided that we move to paint and also kitty litter, which is giving them, even the profitability is not so much as compared to pesticide, which is 94%, but they do have some so-called income deriving from the other two business. Okay, if you based on the financial itself, basically you find out why the pesticide has been shoot up somewhere in December until May. The main reason is it's related to the weather. During that particular month in US, there's a spring, they also so-called autumn, which is the usage of the pesticide is very high during the period as compared to the other month, which is during winter whatsoever. That's why it's been shoot up. So that's the strategy in terms of diversification into the product. That's the key strength of CamCare. The other one is the ability of Mike Kinney has been proven in terms of operating aspect, in terms of managing control, managing the so-called labor, managing the staff, managing in terms of so-called that advertisement, getting market share. If you run through that, that's how it provide Mike Kinney capability. That's the key strength about CamCare. So when you run through the case study, you understand the key strength. And of course, you have to know the weaknesses, as what I mentioned just now. All right, okay. Okay, the key strength, yeah. And then let us see about I mentioned just now the list of possible key industry risk characteristic. This one is very important to understand as well, because now you need to understand the industry risk. You need to understand economics, what economic event that happened to this company. This is something that to give you practice to understand the key risks. When you read through this, the case studies, whatever case study, whatever AA that you see, you have to understand the what are the key factors about the industry, the key factors about economic event, because that particularly is very important for you to understand about the future state of the borrower. So for this case, it has been well designed for you to understand, particularly how do we segregate in terms of industry risk characteristic, and then how this thing can affect in terms of establishing reasonableness of your scenario or possible scenario, best case, most likely downside risk that I mentioned just now, right? So the first cut, if you read through the case study, you find out that the key risk among others is about regulatory. This is highly regulated industry because it involves pesticide, and then concern about product safety and also ESG risk. The three things is be identified as the key risk on this industry. That's why their business strategy, actually production and product market strategy, basically, they firstly is because they know the highly regulated industry, they cannot get the easily license or whatsoever. They have a plan, Mike Kinney have a plan to acquire new or develop more product registration, or maybe they acquire new registration. Even they also thinking to invest in eco-friendly product, which is related to pesticide, which is they also looking towards the chemical or bioproducts, biopesticides. And also they have to ensure that they are strictly compliant to ESG issue. That's their business strategy if you run through. So now we develop in best case, most likely, and downside risk, particularly in best case. How does this thing impact them in terms of financial drivers? Of course, we are looking at the sales growth. If let's say they be able to manage all this, the sales goes pretty well. As well, they can manage in terms of SGA, which is in relation to SGA because R&D concern, because they need to develop new products. Subsequently, we do understand that there is intangible asset or intangible expenses relating to license, because this license was about, if I'm not mistaken, 2.4 million USD. So they have to make sure the license that is their patent. They said that they are so-called that goodwill. So that's best case. It means all in order. So if let's say downside risk, I'm looking to downside risk directly, saying that if this did not happen, sales will be interrupted because some issues about environmental concern. And then of course their tangible asset also declining because some of the product is not successful. Maybe only few are successful. That's the key concern under pessimistic. Most likely to happen, you can see based on the current position, whereby their sales is quite moderate, nothing much, and the difference is very minimal, and then increase R&D is very constant. Is particularly it does impact because they go for getting the new product to invest in new product. So that's how we look into the industry characteristic in terms of regulatory. So the other one is, if you run through the case study, you find out that there is some concern about vulnerability to substitute, whereby the people can choose another organic gardening genetic engineering, for example, or maybe they can find another volunteer new chemical. That's their substitute. So after you understand the industry risk, now you have to understand what's your business strategy for them in the management, in terms of how they want to tackle this. So they are clearly mentioned that they need to find out very wide variety of product. And then they have, whatever it is, when they introduce the product, they have to be the first. That's their business strategy. So you come up, you come down, best case and also downside risk. From the best case again, sales can grow up. And then of course, intangible is also go up. That's the best case. Go to the downside risk, the sales is down. So basically, based on the studies, based on the industries, also impact the sales. Some other thing that impact is about SGA. So it means that your financial driver, when you come up the cash flow, basically, these two items, basically, you need to vary. You need to sensitize it. So you've got the two financial drivers, actually. They're the key two financial drivers. Okay. And then we go to operation side. Okay. These among the key factors are whereby they're talking about worker safety related to chemical, pesticide. And then, of course, another approval in terms of product. Subsequently, their strategy basically, again, I mentioned to you about their business strategy, how they want to address the concern, the industry concern. So either they acquire the new one or the registered one, or they got the new one. And then, of course, talking about the worker safety is a relation to insurance protection that they have to take on. Best case, of course, insurance, training expenses above average, which is no claim, everything in order. Of course, the other downside is insurance training is always a concern here. So this part and concern basically can impact in terms of their cost, their so-called their expenses. What do you call that? Is other variable costs. Okay. All right. That's part of it. How you want to address the second questions. So the third question, based on management projections, list the most possible management. I did mention just now, right? The talking about the sum of when you understand the industry risk, how you want to come up with the possible management. Okay, for this case, if you run through, talking about sales, yeah, most possible, you know that sales is possible on the issue. Run through their financial, because inside that particular case, they did mention, they did share you the cash flow projection until 2008, 7, 2000, I think 10, something like that. So you can see the sales growth happen. Sales growth 2008, 5%, which is quite moderate. So we can see that this is most plausible. It's most likely to happen based on industry-wise, you mentioned that. Of course, in terms of SGA has been consistent for the past few years, and 27, they still consistently project inside the cash flow projection, if you run through the case study, 27%, right? And then in terms of inventory days over holding period, or the other one is called it inventory turnover. AP is account payable. It means that trade creditors, creditor payment period. This is inventory days overhead, basically, or holding period. Basically, this is American terms. So in UK terms, we use a stock turnover and also creditors payment period. So based on that, you can see the improvement, improving trend in line with operational control procedure. That's most possible inventory will increase, because one thing is they invest in new product, at the same time also they come up so-called that increase their sales. Okay, their creditors to payment also improve, because they need to get so-called that supports from their creditors as well. Okay, that's most possible. So, like I mentioned just now, basically, you are establishing which is possible, which is not possible. Because all this inside the case study is not something that come up outside. It's inside the case study. Now the ability for you to identify which one is possible, which is not possible. This is to give you some practice, yeah, some practice about the projections. Okay, come to the projections. Do not possible, referring to 20X3, which is 1 year after that, and also second year subsequently. We found out that they project 10% sales growth. Concern is, can such thing happen for such a new product in the market, for them to increase the sale 10%? That is something questionable. But based on the track record, it's beyond that. That is too good to be seen. That's why you can see that in terms of projection, the first 2 years basically it being inflated high figures, because 10% beginning. So we test, we challenge back the borrower. Basically, you as a banker, they give you cash flow just now, right? So you as banker, you are now checking the credibility of the figure, credibility of the information. That's what you did now. Second part is gross profit margin, which is they improve into 28.4, which is too high, which is relatively introduce the new product, which is can give them very high profit margin, which is they have to test the market. The market have to accept first. Can they really acquire such a gross profit margin? This is something that when you see inside the cash flow, inside the case study, basically you find out all these things that you need to challenge. Yeah, back to the earlier slides, the earlier presentation slide, whereby I sharing about where do you get the cash flow from the customer, and also you have some communication with the borrower, and then you project by your own with the information output. But now the customer give you the cash flow. So now you challenge back, you want to ensure that the figure is credible. And then the third part is you find out trade receivable all of a sudden is showing the reduction, which is this product basically. They are introduced new product to the market. Basically, they have to get a new sale. They need to get a new customer. They need to ensure that the existing customer accept it. Basically, it does not really true picture saying that the customer will pay that very short period of time. It does not really reflect such way. So account receivable basically show some reduction. That's why you can see at the bottom line, you find out that their financial in terms of collection is pretty well. Yeah, and then their cash also pretty high because they got so-called that support from the trade creditor. But again, trade debtors collection is so good, which is we have some portion, which is not possible. All right, so far so good. Can understand what I'm trying to share to you now? If good, say yes. If not good, I will repeat. So far okay, kah? All right, thank you. Good. Okay, how about the rest? Yeah, I hope you guys can follow me. I really hope that. So basically, it's something that I hope you can gain something from this class. Okay, the other questions. Okay, other questions are something that you will pick up inside that particular proposal, whereby you find out that they have existing line 8.75 million, which is permanent line. At the same time also, they have 3.75 under temporary line, which is the basis based on seasonal basis. So in order to entice the borrower, basically, the suggestion part is you based on the working capital requirement, based on the gearing position that you mentioned, basically we don't want to expand more facilities to them. But we have to be realistic to the borrower, saying that we're going to structure the facility which is more palatable to them. Palatable in the sense of whether this one is really helpful, particularly, which is to support in terms of their financing. So what we can do is we have to make a different compared to the previous, the existing bankers. We propose to them package 1 is 6.5 will be seasonal basis. Seasonal basis whereby 1 year line need to be cleaned up at least 60 days. It means basically we whatever proposition, whatever so-called that their utilization, they need to pay down for at least 60 days, and this is revolving that we allow that. And then package 2, which we're going to put it under permanent line, which is suitable with that particular borrower based on the record, based on cash flow, based on the information given to us. The amount is 6 million, which is maturity 2 to 3 years maximum schedule payment. It can be rolled down against invoice as well as these are the structure based on the presentation given by the borrower, which is we have to match in terms of the funding. But again, I would say that my point of view here, if you suggest this kind of proposition to the borrower, basically the customer unlikely to take it, because one thing is no implemented in line. Second part is the position wise, whereby you put in seasonal line and package 2. Basically, you increase seasonal line to them, because what they want actually, they want higher limit for during the seasonal time, which is during December until May, which is the utilization up to 12 million as well. So they want it to at higher limit, which is that's why the existing banker give them 3.5 million, but instead we give them 6.5 million, whereby they can utilize it up to that maximum. So that's the only key advantage that we allow them to utilize it. It means that the other bank just put it under permanent line, whereby they need to reduce the loan accordingly. But for this case, the permanent line, actually we are still down to 6 million. At the same time, so they can reduce in terms of monthly repayment, but they can have a revolving facility under seasonal line or under revolving line, 6.5 million. This is something that different than existing bank, but it's something palatable on the table. They have to decide on that. The only thing is they don't get the additional limit. Right. Okay. Something that I missed out just now pertaining to concern. Pertaining to concern. Later I will the things back. The concern just now we mentioned about key strength. So now about weaknesses. The concern basically for this industry in overall, you need to understand what are the key concerns surrounding this customer. The first thing is about pesticide, is pertaining to some concern from the public opinion, consumer preferences, and also regulatory. That's the key concerns. Coming back to competition, I mentioned about the therefore competition with the bigger players. That is something that going to compress their margins. Let's say they want to go all out in the market. That's why for this customer, basically they are also diversified. They know that there's some issue on that. In terms of leverage, if you run through their financial, basically you find out their leverage is very high, above the industry benchmark. That's why we don't go higher, offer another limits. Depending on the intangible. For this proposition, if you find out that, if you run through some of the business, you find out that their pattern or their goodwill is pretty high. This is not something that we want to shout about, but something that we have to think about the impact of this type of goodwill. If their intangible net worth is too high, basically, I mentioned to you when you compute your gearing, basically it will be inflated. So if you discount back intangible net worth, basically the gearing will be higher. So the intangible is something that you cannot gauge in terms of it depending on the market itself. Let's say if they want to buy the company, if they see the goodwill is very strong, while you are financial very strong, of course they will pay more. But if your financial not strong and then your goodwill to show that they are very high, definitely will be discounted. It does not bring a good value. So the other part is the key concern about the CamCare or the list about CamCare about the concession on to the few large retailers. It's similar to matured this industry. So that's why you can see that very not many players, and then they are concentrated as well in terms of play, in terms of customer, at the same time also in terms of buyers. So basically all this require some monitoring in terms of sales returns. So that's the weaknesses about CamCare. Just now I mentioned about the key strengths and then the weaknesses. At least you know that actually you do the SWOT analysis actually. Strength and weaknesses. Track everything, basically you are come into the picture in this area which is weaknesses also under industry outlooks. All right. Okay, come to possible economic. So the question, So okay, this is something that I believe the question asks you to give you understanding to ensure that you have the right thinking process. Thinking process about this case study. What are possible economic conditions affecting CamCare future performance? Okay. Anyone to try this? I give you the simple word, raw material shortages. What are the things that out of your mind that you think that this will become concern? Economic condition become concern to their CamCare future performance. Why we put one word, raw material shortages is among the key issue. So anyone to try this? Anyone to give your ideas, or maybe from based on your industry that you are in, whereby you have a very quite similar to this customer, maybe you want to share? What can make the raw material shortages? What are the circumstances that this for CamCare, the raw material or maybe the supply concern? What kind of circumstances can happen? Anyone try? Let me check. So, siapa dapat ni? Okay. Ada tak? Anyone who try? Okay, never mind. I do understand. Okay, when you talk about raw material shortages, something that you have to bear in mind. This thing can happen if there is strike concern. You know that this is highly regulated. This is very sensitive to ESG. This is something to do with the pesticide. So strikes can happen. So it will interrupt your raw material. At the same time also, this is in relation to petrochemical, which is in relation to petroleum-based chemical. So if there is shortage, and then this raw material can also impacted. Another things that we have to understand related to ESG, if there is anything happen, anything that in relation to natural event, so this one will be impacted. This company will be impacted. Okay. In terms of supply wise, if let's say it's short of raw material, so the supply cost will be higher. So the concern now is possible equalization. What will happen if the supply cost is higher? What are the key issue that we want to know? The key issue that we would like to address particularly, can the borrower pass down the cost to the customer? If that raw material shortages happen, whereby increase in product price or raw material price. Second one is, when this is an issue, supply concern, what happened to spontaneous financing? What happened to the credit terms given by suppliers? Of course, the supplier also will pass down in terms of advance payment, for example, COD, for example. That's among the possible economic condition that can happen to this borrower. Okay. And then the other one is, how efficient is the raw material to be delivered to them? Right? You can relate this in relation to Ukraine and Russia war, pertaining to fertilizer, for example, pesticide. You can more or less is something to do with the chemical concern, which is raw material. This is something that bear in mind the impact of such raw material shortages. The other one is about inflation, because their cost of goods sold will increase, and then their SGA also increase. In the same time, also we can see that the price will be higher and higher. This is something that concern. Okay, that is related to economy. The other one is about recession. If let's say pesticide industry basically having not so much impacted, but they incur some losses in sales and higher costs expected, that the customer have to reduce in terms of discretionary spending. So it does not really support that. That's among possible economic conditions. So now you are at the economic position. Okay, some other things that we want to look into about this industry. You know that I mentioned about very concentrated buyers or and also suppliers or maybe competitors as well. This is under maturity stage. So under mature industry, which is, you know that there are some dominant player and there are to control a few players only, to control few buyers only. So you can expect that upon maturity, their growth, the sales growth is a bit flat. That is something that understand the economic condition, and if you relate back to the financial indicator or financial drivers, the sales will be flat. That's why you're coming back just now. Their sales growth for the first 2 years is 10%, which is relatively is high side. Okay, dependence. Too much dependence on the supplier, too much dependent on the limited buyers, which is impact in terms of gross profit margin. It does impact also in terms of how in terms of pricing as well. So cost of goods will increase. In terms of cost structure, basically, if you run through the case study, they are heavily involved in R&D. So is that a cost? Definitely it's a cost. Cost in terms of R&D costs. And then they also have a business strategy in relation to license, whereby they know that to get a new license is very hard, because for chemical pesticide, it takes many years to get the license as compared to bio organic pesticides. So because of having that kind of issue, basically, if they want to continue with the business, they have to acquire new existing license from other players as well. So this one is a bit costly. Either they sell their license or they buy the license from other parties. All right. That's overview about this company, which is I try to connect you guys about economic. At the same time, also look into some of our financial drivers, the sales, SGA concern, and then for gross profit margin, I mentioned that, yeah. And at the same time, also talking about their collections concern. All that is a financial drivers. Other variables, particularly, maybe you want to see in terms of interest expenses, in terms of rental, all those things. Okay, come to the second way out about collateral and support structure. I think more or less, if you run through that, they mention about collateral, which is they charge again the account receivable inventory, which is something that they're taking over. They don't, I mean, they are willing to charge their account receivable as per existing bank. Negative pledge is in relation to borrowing, because we know that this borrower basically at high gearing side. So when talking about negative pledge, basically they shall not have incurred any borrowing with other bank without consent from the existing bank or the existing financial. So they do provide the general debenture intermachinery as well. This part is attributed or mentioned inside the proposition, inside the case study. The only thing, the ability for you to pick up the area of the concern or the area of discussions. So legal charge and also seeking fund that I mentioned inside that. And then you will segregate which part is collateral, which part is credit support. Credit support about personal guarantee is very interesting. Why personal guarantee up to 2 million? Why not to 12.5 million? Why is it so? Why we do agree on this? If you read through, Michael Kinney, very smart. He said that, no, I just want to make sure that my personal guarantee up to 2 million. Then to me, because we're giving you so much collateral on this, the bank basically relating to other bank, because if you want to consider this loan, they have to be at par with other bank, which is the other bank also allow personal guarantee up to 2 million. So we agree with that, subject to some other collateral remain as per it is. And then, for example, maybe we look into the negative pledge, whereby this negative pledge is we put in. And then the other credit supports, letter of undertaking to meet repayment assignment. So now, I hope you guys can understand which part is collateral, which part is credit supports. These are very important as a credit officer to understand. If you do the loan structuring as well, understand collateral, what is credit versus credit supports. So some of not to see credit support, some of our document good to have as letter of awareness, letter of comfort. All those things is not credit support, but instead they are more on so-called giving comfort. So by now, I believe that if you are doing credit, or maybe during the time that you have some other opportunity with other class, they do introduce to you about this here. So in overall, you'll be able to size up this. All right, finally, talking about proposed governance and term and condition, basically you're looking at, okay, as a credit officer, when you run through the proposition, basically you're looking at the angle of their financial capability, financial strength, financial standing in terms of tangible net worth, because you know that some issue about intangible asset, which is can inflate in terms of overall tangible net worth. So that's why here, among others, we are putting a minimum tangible net worth. We are specified tangible net worth. We don't mention maintain minimum net worth. We mention about maintain minimum tangible net worth, because this has become basic for us to check on gearing. You understand that any company that having those two type of net worth, intangible, tangible net worth, always zoom in the angle. In terms of what are the acceptable, what are the minimum tangible net worth that you want them to maintain, to make sure that their gearing is not surpass the bank benchmark. Okay. Second one is reducing debt to net worth and KP to maximum or minimum or within industry average. again, always compare with industry average. At the same time also, why you want to put this kind of pension covenant, reducing debt to net worth, as well as capping it to maximum, because we want to manage in terms of gearing position. Right. That's why in terms of covenant, again, I mentioned, as mentioned by Encik Zul along the way, this is a part also for you to practice. When you read through this case study, what are the things that you'll be able to pick up? So this is how that you want to assess the proposition based on the information given to you. So the thing is not very clear inside the case study, but you need to establish this skill. Basically, after you learn this, you know where to tap in, basically about tangible net worth, about the gearing position. If you run through about the cash flow analysis, basically, you will understand that our financial risk, basically, what are the things, the 4 steps that you want to run through. First thing is you want to check on their gearing position. Can they have more gearing? Second part is about their repayment position. Can they pay? Second, the third part is basically about their financial position. Is it profitable or not? And then finally, basically, you want to see in terms of your covenant. That one is under financial risk area, if you can remember. That's why it's really back to here. And then minimum EBITDA basically against total debt service. To support DSCR, you have to basically we are looking at the angle how to support this SCR, because the SCR is a commission. Maybe you're putting debt against the EBITDA, for example, DSCR. That's one of the computation. That's why you want to make sure that EBITDA is not lower than this. This is worst case scenario. That's why when you will be able to come up a worst case scenario, you'll be able to identify what are the worst case scenario happen to this customer, especially DSR when they lower down. What makes the DSR lower down? One of them is about EBITDA. So you want to make sure that EBITDA should not be lower than this. That minimum EBITDA that you want to identify. Okay? So far so good. So far, is it okay with the explanation, guys? Is it okay? So far so good? Atau semua sudah tidur? Any response? Hello? Okay, okay, thank you. How about the rest, Julian, I think I hope you learn a lot, especially I want the rest also. Maybe I ask the name, maybe I ask, how about Andy Tan? How do you find it? So far so good? Andy, how is it, Andy? Can you follow me? Aiman, okay. Okay, so far so good, Aiman. I hope you guys can understand. Let me know. Stop me if, let's say, you want to get clarification. It's okay, you don't read that, but I give you some explanation. When you read through it, basically, you can relate back whatever I mentioned just now, yeah? So I do understand your limitations, but I try my best to explain to you, yeah, with this kind of limitation, yeah. All right. Okay. How about I ask one more guy? Okay. Let me check siapa yang tak reply lagi ni. How about I ask ni nama Elton ni. Elton, you're from Sarawak, yeah. Elton, how is it, Elton? Can you follow me or not in first place? So far so good. Boleh ke, Elton? Thank you. Oh, okay, Elton boleh Okay. Hopefully you don't not please me only, yeah. I hope you really understand what I'm trying to share. Yeah. So okay. Sudashini, are you okay, Sudashini? Call you Shini, right? Are you okay? So far so good? Okay, okay, thank you. Stop me if you don't really, you need further explanation. Okay, now we move to limitation acquisition without prior approval. Okay, this is something that I did highlight to you the earlier part, whereby they have high intention to acquire license, to acquire company, whereby this is due to the license issue, this is a regulatory issue. That's their intention. So we made aware of what happen if they siphon their money or use their money to acquire the other entity or the acquire license, which is need money, right? So this is part and parcel whereby you want to consider they need to come back to the bank prior to acquisition. We want to, if they are our bank, if they are bankers, basically this is something that we want to keep monitor. We want to make sure that, let's say, if they acquire without our knowledge, so the concern is about source of fund or use of fund. It will be use of fund. Use of fund, use of cash flow, yeah, use of cash. So cash will be out from the company. Okay, Keyman Insurance, Mike Keeney basically is talking about he's a key person in this area, in this company. Even there are another two directors, which is Sleeping Partners, but he's a very instrumental. He is a very so-called that very important person in this company to make sure that it's sustainable. So you can consider Keyman Insurance for this Mike Keeney, or maybe you find out another succession plan, because if I'm not mistaken, he's about how old is he? 50 something, 60, 50 something, yeah. And then talking about dividend restrictive covenant, which is a main concern. Why? If you find out that along inside the story, there are some money has been used to pay the existing estate, the existing so-called that estate administrations in relation to the brother Jack Keeney, which passed away, whereby there's need some money to pay the so-called the stakeholder or estate admin. So how they come up that is through in the form of direct advances or also dividend. This is something that strikes us. Whatever so-called that event happen, basically you have to figure out, is this something good, is it something bad? If there's something good, it means that you want to maintain it, you have to put consideration in terms of highlight inside that as a positive covenant. But if let's say it is something that can affect negatively, so you can put it under negative covenant, which is dividend decision, for example. This is something to relate back what Encik Zoe mentioned about affirmative covenant, about negative covenant, for example. Yeah, this is relate. For example, if you see that maintain minimum, this is positive covenant, reducing all those things, minimum, that one is required for the affirmative covenant, while in terms of limitation is a negative covenant. Keyman Insurance is affirmative covenant. This is to relate back the so-called the studies that you have yourself. So basically, I've covered all the case studies indirectly. So that's all about for today's sessions. Thank you very much. If is there anything that you want to ask me before we wrap up the sessions? Something that you want to discuss, something that you want me to highlight? Yeah. So do you learn something from here? So okay, just finally check. If you learn something from here, you say hi. If let's say you don't learn something from here, you just say ho. The final one. Can I have your chat response on this? Learn something or not? Hi. Hi. Okay, I just say ho. Okay. Thanks God you learn something. I hope I will meet you again. Yeah. From now on, if let's say we have an opportunity to be with you and also to share the knowledge, and then by all means we happy to have that. So this is something that I would say is not advanced. This is something that beginner side. So it's a beginner sessions. So hopefully you'll be able to understand the entire structure from the beginning in terms of loan decision making or loan process. So now you come to the extent whereby you are at the end of the loan process in terms of loan structuring and also cash flow projection and also sensitivity. You have yet to conduct or to construct your cash flow. But one fine day, you're going to construct cash flow, whereby you get ready with that, you will see there's so many cash flow available for you to choose. For example, developer cash flow, manufacturing cash flow, oil pump cash flow, and then term loan cash flow, for example, yeah, and then indirect or direct cash flow, contract financing cash, all that is made available for you to to key in the figures. But the only thing is now I just share to you how you want to come up the figure reasonably based on the steps that I shared to you earlier. At the same time, also you can always challenge by the step. Basically, you run through the case study, you run through the proposition. Basically, you can know that when you want to do assumptions, this is how you do assumption based on your reasonableness. You can challenge, you can test it. All right, so I'm very glad many of you learned something here, at least 50-70%. If you can get 100%, I'm very pleased, I'm very proud of you. So that's all about. Thanks a lot, guys, for the sessions. So hopefully can see you again for another sessions, yeah. So I over to you, Aiman.
Okay, guys. I will share you about QR for you to scan.
So Aiman, okay, I wait for another 2 or 3 minutes. So any question that they want to ask, they can post the questions. After 3 minutes, I will log out.
Tak masuk lah, Amal. Amal, tak masuk.
Tengah jawab soalan.
Alright.
So tak ada question I log out Aiman, is it okay?
Jawapan dia apa? Jawapan dia tu soalan dia. Aiman.
Ya, saya.
Nanti you don't mind to share also the recording with me?
Recording.
Kena sini ya.
Alright, so nanti saya akan inform lah dekat PIC supaya untuk hantar recording ke semua packs.
To me lah, to me, myself and Cik Saiful lah.
Okay, alright. Also to the trainer, alright. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay, welcome. So everyone already scan the QR?
Kenapa?
Is that okay if we end the session, Sir Saiful?
Yeah, I'm okay. Okay, all the best, guys.
Yeah, I assume
All the best.
already all of you already scan the QR. So see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Cik Saiful and Cik Zulkarnain.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Alright.